Live betting reaction to all of the night's action. You're tuned in to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Patrick Meagher, Dustin Swedelson, VSiN Live.
Hey, it is VSiN Live as we say hi. I'm Patrick Meagher, live from Los Angeles, the epicenter today of sports. We'll get to that in just a second with the bombshell. $10 billion the Lakers have been sold, could reach $12 billion. I'll get to that in just a bit. Let's set the table. We've got the boys, the dangerous duo, Isaiah Ramirez and my buddy Jacob back in New York City. Those two people. We've got Steady Ryan Smith in Vegas at VSiN Live. You can follow us on YouTube. Couple things. One, I'm trying to get the boys involved in Ecuadorian soccer. Okay, we're betting Ecuador tonight in soccer, people, because there's nothing else on, and that's kind of the theme as we start the program today. Look, nobody watched Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final last night. You know how I know? I'm checking it out right now. 2.8 million viewers across TNT and True TV. I have no clue how valid these numbers are. I just know those numbers are putrid. Lowest watch Game 6 since 94, Rangers and Canucks. So nobody's watching hockey. And again, it might not be your thing, but it does indicate and represent us moving forward, right? Because tomorrow you've got a Game 6 in Indy, most likely with that number jumping up to 6.5 with Oklahoma City laying it. Most likely we're going to finish the NBA season tomorrow. Pacers backers don't at me. Halliburton questions with the calf, and right now it's 6.5. So as much as we bitch about the sport, and trust me, I'm right there with you, the player empowerment in the NBA, NHL is a bit niche, I understand. However, we're going to turn that corner, and then all of a sudden it's just Jacobs Yankees and a bunch of baseball, dog leading with it every night. Steve Torrey talking about his Bombers. And then a lot of futures talk about the NFL. May I interest you in soccer and horse racing? You should give it a shot. 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. Okay, ton to do on the program tonight. We're going old school, people. We're going old school. And this is, if you are an old school listener of Mad Dog Sports Radio, where are the real ones at? I think I started here on the network in like 13. Yeah, right around 13. At the time, I had a producer named Sean Kilby. Great guy. He just wasn't cut out for sports producing. So then he gone. And then there was like a few months in between, maybe 6, where I was just hosting, producing, sitting in a closet in Los Angeles, nobody paying attention. And then in comes bumbling and stumbling the big guy. And the big guy couldn't formulate a sentence. Now he calls himself the co-host. And now he's in New York. Ergo, we go old school with the program today. We're going to reconnect over the next, I guess, 3 days with you. So I'd love to hear from some of you we haven't heard from, the new iteration, VSiN Live, formerly The Wrap, 888-623-3646. We got Halterman coming up with baseball. We're going to be betting baseball tonight, no doubt. Noops on the basketball, and Scott Spreitzer, who's one of the OGs on the program, professional bettor, is going to join as well. Something else I wanted to do, kind of an accomplishment. Again, I think it's, for some of you, now we started in January, but it's kind of been a weird crossover because the show's called VSiN Live, and VSiN is the sports betting network, and we're doing a show on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Now, there's familiarity. I know you know me. Everything's copacetic. But when we come in being called VSiN Live, I think people are like, are you just going to completely waterboard us with sports betting? And that's not the case, as you know, and as you've seen. Yes, we'll talk sports betting because it's become so much more prevalent in just the sports space in particular. But I think part of the reason people are so intimidated by sports betting is the terminology, frankly. And it's less intimidating than you think. So over the next day, 2 days, I'm going to go over the terminology and I'll hopefully make it less intimidating for you and kind of, I got you. I'm going to walk you through it. I'll make it a lot easier on you there. But as you've seen, I mean, we're not just sitting here talking about numbers. I love working for VSiN. I love working with Mad Dog Sports Radio. We're trying to find that right mix, and I think we're getting there. But I think the terms at times when it comes to sports betting can be a little intimidating. So I'm going to get to that coming up in just a little bit. I do have a Connor McDavid conversation that needs to be had. Is he this generation's Peyton Manning? We can get to that in just a little bit. Also, the greatest duos currently in the NBA. I don't know who you're taking over SGA and Jalen Williams. As far as I'm concerned, that's the best. We'll have that conversation. But as I mentioned off the top, it was a bombshell. Honestly, Isaiah had texted me, and he said, did you see the sale of the Lakers? Now, there's a couple of things that we need to understand about the Lakers, and we'll just get to the particulars. $10 billion. It's a bombshell in the NBA. For context, the Mavs were sold in 23. Cuban sold most of his stake in the Mavs in 23 for $3.5 billion. All right? This past March, the Celtics, the other pillar of the NBA community, were sold, $6.1 billion. And then today, the news, now it is Los Angeles, but this number is freaking wacky. The news is Mark Walter has bought from the Buss family, the Los Angeles Lakers, just right down the road from me here, for $10 billion, and that amount could reach $12 billion. Now, more context, this is the largest ever sale for a sports team worldwide, Los Angeles Lakers. Again, Jeannie Buss is going to remain as the franchise's governor. Steve Torrey told you that a little earlier after the sale. She's kind of been the face since her father, Dr. Jerry Buss, died back in 2013. So remember, Jerry Buss bought the Lakers in 79. You want to take a guess? I just told you that the Lakers, 46 years later, sold for $10 billion. Now just throw a number out there. What do you think Dr. Buss, bought the Lakers for in 79? $67.5 million. It's a good business if you can get in it. And I wish I had some different genetics, right? My dad went to the post office. Jeannie Buss's dad went to the Lakers, and they sat on that property and just turned $67.5 million into 10 freaking billion. That's better than Bitcoin if you're taking score at home. But the Lakers have been a pillar. I mean, you think about what Dr. Buss has done and what he did, passed away in 2013. And then when he passed away, he transferred his ownership to his 6 children. Now, I don't think it's any secret. There's been strife within the family, in particular between Jeannie and her brother. So there's been drama since 2013 when Dr. Jerry Buss passed away. But since 79, 11 titles, the Showtime, obviously Kareem, after West and that crew, Kareem into Magic, into Shaq, into Kobe, which they made a trade for. You know, if you think about it, the Buss family has been paramount for the NBA. And 2 teams that have just been sold, March, the Celtics, and now we sit, June 18th, the Lakers. Those really are the 2 pillars of the NBA. And those are the 2 teams that are responsible, I guess you would say, responsible for the explosion in popularity of the league. You know, this was a middling league. Dog talks about it all the time. You had the NBA Finals on tape delay back in the day. And then mid-'80s, you had the Lakers, Showtime, you had the Bird Celtics, and it really, in particular, those 2, for many reasons, and the dynamics of white and black, let's not pretend like it didn't exist with Bird, and of course Magic. And that was the renaissance. That was when the NBA started gaining traction as what we know it as today, which is a $10 billion organization that just got sold. So that mid-'80s period where Buss was involved, the Celtics were involved, those are the 2 teams. That's it. It's the Lakers and Celtics, and then you have a pecking order after those 2. But the deal's this. Mark Walter is going to take over. Now, Mark Walter is a businessman that also owns the Dodgers, all right? He also owns a part stake in Chelsea Football Club over in England, Cheerio. He owns the Sparks here in Los Angeles, WNBA, which, by the way, I need to talk to you about that later. Like, can somebody explain to me, like I'm a 3rd grader, what is happening with Caitlin Clark and the WNBA? Because I'll bet it, but I don't watch it. And I know people are up in arms about it. However, Walter owns the Sparks. He owns an F1 team. So this guy's freaking balling. And now he owns the Lakers. As far as what would change for the Lakers moving forward, LeBron's already said he's going to stick around. Obviously, he's going to be 41 years old, so you have a depreciating asset in LeBron James. You also have Luka, and there are a lot of questions as to how they're going to fill out that roster to support the two of them. But I wouldn't think, first off, the NBA is a capped league. I mean, you can go into the luxury tax. And frankly, the Lakers would never not do so. If you looked at the numbers last year, 15 of the 30 teams in the NBA pay the luxury tax. The Lakers aren't just going to sit on their ass and all of a sudden get cheap and not pay the luxury tax. And bringing in somebody like Mark Walter to take over majority stake and ownership of the Lakers, I mean, think about what he's done with the Dodgers. He brought you Mookie. He brought you Freddie Freeman. He brought you Shohei Ohtani. They've won 2 championships over the last 12 years, 11 pennant. I mean, they have been the class of the NL and the class of Major League Baseball. And Mark Walter, who now owns the Lakers and the Dodgers, hasn't shown that he's afraid to spend cash. So I don't think anything changes here as far as big picture. And as I mentioned, Jeannie Buss, who's kind of been the face, Jeannie Buss was just part of a very popular, I think it might have been on Netflix. I didn't watch it, but she was a part of a very popular Netflix show. Maybe she produced it, which essentially was after her. Like is a Lakers kind of docudrama where she produced it. And she's been the front-facing figure for the Lakers, even back into the latter days of Dr. Buss. And now moving into modernity, this Jeannie Buss has been the face of the Lakers. And after the sale, she's going to remain the franchise's governor. So she will continue to be high priority in the Laker organization as the face of the Lakers. But that was, I don't know if it moves the needle for you. I don't know if it really does anything for me. Specifically, there are some bad owners in the NBA. But the Lakers aren't going to be bought by somebody that all of a sudden is going to get tight with the purse strings. And Mark Walter has shown his propensity to spend, whether it be with the Dodgers, Chelsea, F1, and Sparks, on and on. So that's the story. But again, what fascinates me, I wrote it down here. What fascinates me is you had in 23, the Mavs, who are in Dallas. Last time I checked, pretty freaking big city, sold for just $3.5 billion. The Celtics, just this past March, 6.1, and now the Lakers for $10 billion, which could eventually equal $12 billion with this sale. This is Scrooge McDuck money. It's something you and I can't conceptualize. You and I don't even understand where these numbers come from. But hey, I guess it's a sign of changing times as the Lakers are going to have new ownership. So there you have it. But again, I think the key here is, and if you're younger, you don't remember it. I see Al is on hold. He remembers the history of the NBA and the association very, very well. But that was truly, I mean, you can go back to Dr. J. You can go back to some exciting basketball. But the prevalence on a national stage, it comes down to the Celtics and the Lakers. It really does. It comes back to that era. And then you had the introduction of Jordan in between that. You had the bad boy Pistons with Isaiah Thomas and that era right there. And then you went to, obviously, the Olympics with the Dream Team, which globally had a big representation as far as expanding the NBA's reach. And since then, it's been a freaking rocket ship, which is interesting because now you're seeing a little pullback. Right? Everything in life is cyclical. I mean, everything comes back around, and we're starting to see some pushback on the brand of the NBA. Silver, who is the commissioner, he can look and point to this number and say the NBA, he can point to those TV contracts and say the NBA's never been healthier. And bottom line wise, he's right. And you can look to the $10 billion and say, I'm a commissioner of a league that just had the largest ever sale for a sports team. That does not dispute or discredit the fact that the NBA's got some real issues. And it even makes me think about LeBron. When LeBron came to the Lakers, that was, again, we're talking player empowerment. When LeBron came to the Lakers, I was on Mad Dog Sports Radio, and I said, the Buss family doesn't own the Lakers. LeBron James owns the Lakers. And that's exactly what happens in modern day NBA. Like we were talking about it the other day with Halliburton's injury, and you have a credited, respected coach in Carlisle. Let me ask you, does Carlisle have the ability to bench a Halliburton? Hell no, he doesn't. All of a sudden, the agent's on the phone. All of a sudden, people are up. That is Halliburton's decision. LeBron James, when he came to the Lakers, he and his management group, Rich Paul and the rest, he then became the de facto owner of the Lakers. So it's a league that is at a bit of a crossroads. But as far as financially, they've never been healthier. $10 billion for the Lakers today. I am going to get into the NHL. And again, I just told you the ratings, and I'll just take a look again. 2.8 million viewers across TNT and True TV for a game that, wasn't necessarily the most exciting game because, let's be honest, the Florida Panthers are freaking really good. If you want to get into the dynastic conversation about what the Panthers are, have at it. I know a bit about the history of hockey, but I do know this. This is a team that's been to the Stanley Cup final now 3 straight years. It doesn't happen very often. It's a team that just went back-to-back, outside of Montreal and Edmonton and the Red Wings and a few others. That doesn't happen very often. And as far as roster construct, it's a hell of a team. And the Connor McDavid questions are going to continue to persist. We said it yesterday before the game started. Last night, he needed to step up, and he very much didn't. And we've been completely bombarded with this concept that, and again, you watch him. He's a beautiful hockey player. He is big. He is forceful. He is elegant. He is more skilled than anybody. But where is that? When is he going to drop him? You understand what I'm saying? Like, when is he going to be that guy? And when is he going to show that? Like last year, he was great in the postseason. He won a Conn Smythe. He was great in the Stanley Cup final. But you never this is where, and again, I know it's hockey, so one player, 4 lines. I get all that. But last night, we needed an epic, virtuoso performance from McDavid. And again, it just didn't happen. And, Bennett, who we gave out on the show, my man in Bergen County today, is counting his cash. Bennett with the Conn Smythe. And just the much better team is the Florida Panthers. And I don't want to hear about the goaltending. Of course, Bobrovsky greater than Skinner and Pickard. I get that. But this was a team effort and a team that's built beautifully. And in the ultimate irony, it's probably, if you think about it, now that the Coyotes have left Arizona, I just can't think of a market that is more anonymous and irrelevant than Sunshine, Florida for an NHL team. Like, you just beat an Edmonton team. You just beat a hockey team up in Edmonton where they eat, breathe, and sleep hockey. And now you've got Florida potentially building something that could be called a dynasty. And it's the Panthers. Completely irrelevant. So I don't think that helps with the number that I quoted of 2.8 million viewers across TNT and True TV. But I do want to get into it. And I'm not going to belabor it because I know a lot of you don't care about hockey, but I do want to get into the particulars of what the Panthers mean. All right? 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. And I literally wrote down in my notes, I'm coming to you for help today. Because, and again, I'm not naive. So I know that there's some sort of societal or political divide that is driving the drama that is the WNBA right now. I get it. I'm not an idiot. I understand what's happening in the world. I know that Caitlin Clark is white. Last time I checked, so am I. And I know it shouldn't matter. But the last time I checked, it does. Because the WNBA has become a reality TV series. That's literally what it is. So I'm going to ask you to explain to me, like I'm a freaking child, are you into it? Because I can't get into it. I don't have the bandwidth. But I know that the drama continues to persist. The Lakers have been sold, and I believe our buddy Al is a big Lakers fan, and it's the turning of a page today, Mr. Al.
Greetings, young man, as you fly solo.
How you doing, buddy? We're going old school.
I'm doing tremendous. Only $1 billion of that was mine, by the way, of that it.
I don't think it changes anything. That's what I would say. It just doesn't change anything. In fact, I like the idea of this dude that owned the Dodgers because he's been showing that he's willing to spend.
I am thrilled, to be quite frank. Number one, it blew the Celtic number out of the water, so that makes me happy. But obviously, this is an incredibly successful guy who has run the Dodgers. I mean, they are so well run, it's mind-boggling. Whether they win the World Series this year or not, the point is they're so well run from top to bottom, from the financial structure, the management, ownership, manager, coaches, players, drafting, development. They're so savvy.
Yep.
And that now will be the way to – and don't be wrong, it's not the Lakers run poorly, but people don't remember. A lot of people a few years back have called the Lakers a mom-and-pop shop because family-owned, the bosses, Jim Buss not doing a great job, the Rambuses, Linda, having decision-making input, et cetera, which a lot of people weren't too thrilled with. Some bad drafts. Things didn't go real well financially because of the money they had pledged to Kobe the last few years of his career, and bad draft after bad draft. The guys didn't pan out. Not even a playoff team. Obviously, that's changed dramatically with LeBron, the championship, some playoff runs. But now LeBron's winding down. Luka's there. And now you have ownership that is so on top of everything, in everything they touch. As Laker fans, and Jeannie will continue to be the face, who I love because she's been fabulous.
Yep.
From the time she was with her father all the way through. She's been a trooper. She's made some mistakes. Obviously, that front office has made some glaring mistakes, which I won't go into. But I've been there since, as you know, my age. I've been a fan since West and Baylor. Jerry West is my boyhood idol. So, to me, this is the franchise of record. I am thrilled. I think the future now is incredibly bright. And I think Laker fans should be dancing in the aisles over this announcement.
I would agree, and Al's been a ride-or-die Laker fan for a long time. Again, when you're talking about a league with a cap, like the NBA, they're going to spend into the luxury, which is then shared with the rest of the league. There is no reason to believe, if you're a Lakers fan, one of the things that Al said that actually just piqued my interest is, somehow Luka fell into the Lakers' lap. And I know it's big picture, you're buying a franchise, but I would question if you're going to get 10, 12 years out of Luka. I would question, are you going to get the $10, $12 billion if you don't have the future of Luka sitting right there? Because Luka is an international star. There is something to the international factor the NBA keeps on. You've heard about China. I'm not going to go there. You know what the NBA does with their, I guess you would call it, international reach and what they try to accomplish. The streaming numbers across the globe are insane. Most of the issues as far as the NBA is domestic. It really comes down to the fact that we're just bitter with the product. And by the way, we have every right to be bitter with the product. It's like literally dudes not playing, load management, resting, and the empowerment has made the league, frankly, unsavory. But back to the $10 billion, you have to believe that Luka had something to do with that price, because if you're an owner coming in, you're like, all right, I got this dude from Serbia or Slovakia or wherever the hell he's from. I got this dude that's going to have international reach for the next 12 years, essentially prime if he can get in shape. And I'm buying a franchise that has a bright future. If you were buying the Lakers on June 18th prior to the Luka deal, you got a 41-year-old LeBron and a huge freaking question mark with the future of the franchise. So I think there's something to that Luka antenna of the trade. Now, it worked out for the Mavericks because somehow they landed the number 1 overall pick. I'm looking at you, Adam Silver, with the conspiracy theory. But the overall antenna of the Luka deal, in my opinion, continues to permeate. It continues to permeate. So there it is, $10 billion. It has been sold, the Lakers, to Mark Walters. And from everything we hear, I know here in Los Angeles, he's thought of as a good dude, a shrewd businessman, obviously. He owns everything, and somebody that is balls to the wall, willing to spend. And Al brought it up as well. The Dodgers, it's funny about the Dodgers, and Chris bitches about the Dodgers, and anybody that's anti-Dodger bitches about the Dodgers. But you've got 30 teams, and you've got a business model. There is a structure as far as the financial situation with baseball. And the Dodgers have just taken advantage of that and been willing to be more competitive and spend more than you. You 29 other teams can do it. The Dodgers have done it, and they've had insane success over the past 12, 15 years. It's been wonderful, and I don't expect the Lakers to take a step back. In fact, I think this is a rejuvenation. I think it's a rejuvenation for a team that, like he said, kind of a mom and pop shop. Dr. Jerry Buss was very hands-on. He was very much in the public eye. And then on to the 6 siblings. Jeannie Buss has been around forever. Very pretty, kind of the face of the organization. Dated, I don't know if they married Phil Jackson during the Kobe and Shaq run. So it kind of, in a big city, in the second biggest city here in the United States, it did feel a little bit like a mom and pop shop. Al said it perfectly. Now it takes on kind of a grander feel with somebody coming in with this type of cash, but it is a cap league. So I don't expect anything to change there. Now, times are a-changing, and we're going to come back and talk about the NHL. And I'm not going to kill you with it. I will get into next year's betting market, the favorites to win the Stanley Cup, if you're into that type of thing. And part of that, I'm going to explain to you what the futures market is. That's one of the things you're going to hear a lot. It's really just to provide context, because there's not a lot of people wrapping up their money for a full year in a futures bet. But I will talk about the favorites next year in the NHL. And again, it wasn't highly rated, but I do think the Florida Panthers deserve 10 minutes of our time to discuss exactly what they've accomplished. Now, whether or not you believe them to be a budding dynasty, you can tell me. 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. But the Panthers are a freaking great team. And shout to Sam Bennett, who cashed a lot of tickets with the Conn Smythe for VSiN Live listeners. We're back. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson. Sweat your bets with VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
All right, I told you we're going to get weird. I was thinking, the show used to be so weird. When I first started, we welcome you back. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. I'm going to tell you about VSiN. You want to bet baseball tonight, $1.58, VSiN.com/subscribe. Use the promo code SIRIUS. They've been killing it over there in baseball. Again, VSiN.com/subscribe. Promo code SIRIUS. You get a month for $1.58. You don't like it? Say goodbye. I think you're going to like it. Stick around as we do welcome you back. I'm Patrick Maher. I was thinking, the show used to be so weird. So I used to be on late at night, and I'm a morning person. So I'd be like falling asleep during the show on Mad Dog Sports Radio. I think we called it The Wrap back then. And, I mean, we just got really weird callers. Like, we had this dude, Leslie, who would call in from his parents' basement. And then we had Kenneth. I got a lot of drunk people calling. That was always a bit of an Olympic situation but it was a weird show. So with that, going solo again, I've decided to do this. And I want Ryan Smith in Vegas. I want Mike in the OC. I want Jacob. I want Isaiah. I want all of us to bet this. And you too, Steve Torrey, if you're paying attention. All right? I want everybody on my team here. We are betting Ecuadorian soccer. The game starts in 25 minutes. LDU de Quito versus Barcelona SC. Now, am I an expert in South American soccer? I am not. But do I have a pretty good track record betting down below the border? I do, and that is not political. All right? You can build a wall. I can still bet South American soccer. So here's what we're going to do tonight, boys and gals. We are going to we're going to bet LDU de Quito, Barcelona SC. I'm going to make it easy on you. We're going to go over 2.5 goals. These teams pile on goals in Ecuador. Can I find Ecuador on a map? I cannot. But are we still betting it? We are. So, again, Ryan just mentioned he's in. Isaiah with his cheap ass. He better be in. Jacob with his weird ass. Jacob goes to the strip club so much, he probably can't afford to bet over 2.5 on Quito and Barcelona. But I want the rest of you telling me as well. And when this cashes during the program, I want you calling up and giving your boy props. 2.5 over Ecuador. Let's go. Hell of a team, the Panthers. Let's be fair about what we're watching. And again, I think oftentimes the most interesting story is in the losing locker room, and that would be Edmonton. And I'll get to them in a second. But this Florida Panther team, remember, a couple of years ago, they lost to the Golden Knights, Vegas, in the final. Last year, they beat Edmonton, a thriller, 7-game series. And this year, after a bunch of overtimes, they kind of settled in, and they proved they're a much better hockey team. I think McDavid even said it after the game. They're a much better hockey team than Edmonton. And the Panthers are pretty interesting. Like, if this were the Red Wings, or this were the Rangers, or this was the Toronto Maple Leafs, this would be a bigger story. And I think the numbers would have been bigger. Just 2.8 million watched last night, which is a trifling number. But the Panthers are antagonistic. They're a trash-talking, self-assured, just a bunch of bad boys. They remind me of my 89-90 Pistons, you know, with Bill Lambier and Rick Mahorn and Dennis Rodman and Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars. Like, that was the team that if you weren't from Detroit, if you weren't from Michigan, you freaking hated them. You hated them. But because they were so reviled, because they were so hated outside of our state of Michigan, we just fell in love with the team. It makes you kind of want that team more. And I think that's what it is with Florida. Now, I don't know if they have a fan base. The barn was going crazy last night. They have good hockey fans are good. They're niche fans, but the ones that care about the team are pretty freaking good. So whether it's just 20,000 people in Sunrise, Florida, or whatever it is, like, that was a good atmosphere. And this is a team that others love to hate, but they're very good. You know, they've got the tradition, the Panthers, of throwing the rats on the ice. And it's kind of fitting because they signed Brad Marchand, who is the ultimate rat in hockey, but they're deep, and they're a very good team. Kachuk's good, Barkov, Reinhart. You know, right now, this is depth that's unmatched. Now, heading into the offseason, as far as what they're going to do and can they procure everybody to keep them around to go for the three-peat? I don't know. But they're bigger, they're badder, and they know it. And that's the thing when you're watching Florida Panther hockey, which is weird to say because it's the freaking Florida Panthers. But when you're watching Panther hockey, it's kind of like they impose their will, and you're just not going to beat them. The forecheck's crazy. They tilt the rink. They're on top of you constantly. Last night, I actually started feeling pretty badly for the Oiler goaltender and Skinner because what the hell is he supposed to do? He's just getting peppered the whole entire time. So, again, 2 straight wins. That's the first time, that's happened for full hockey seasons since 85 with the Oilers. So we're going back now, 30 years since the last time we had back-to-back as far as the Stanley Cup. And they did it in historic fashion. They were the best road team in the NHL playoff history, tied a record with wins at 10, obliterated. Think about this. The Panthers on the road this year in the Stanley Cup playoffs scored 61 goals. The previous record was 49 with Gretzky and the Kings. So 12 more goals on the road or 50 or whatever. Yeah, 49, whatever it is. They're a freaking wagon. And Sam Bennett, who had 15 goals in 23 games, he did win the Conn Smythe. And we were talking about that. Like, that was when we gave it out on the program, he was 30-1. And a lot of people made some money off that. I hope you did. As far as next year's odds, so this is a good teaching moment. And again, some of the terminology when it comes to sports betting, you can go to VSiN.com and learn a lot about this, but some of the terminology can be a little intimidating. But oftentimes you'll hear, hosts talk about futures. And it's really not that complicated. A futures bet is, let's say right now you go to DraftKings and you want to bet on the Detroit Lions to win the Super Bowl. If you were to place that bet right now, and whatever the number is, that's a future. So that's a futures bet. So you have that bet in your pocket, and then months and months and months from now, if the Lions were to win a Super Bowl, you then collect your cash. So the futures market for the NHL 2026, you've got 3 teams tied as the betting favorite. Florida, Edmonton, and Colorado all at 7-1. Bet $1,000, you win $7,000 if they were to win the Stanley Cup. Now, what I would caution you, because how often do you want to wrap up your money for an extended period of time? Oftentimes, the futures market, when we're talking about betting, is just a way to provide context. Like, they post the futures numbers for next year just to give you an idea of who the sports books think are going to be successful or think aren't going to be successful, obviously. So that is just a quick primer on what a futures play is. But it is fun. Like, one of the things I know Dog does, and Dog's been doing it for years, one of the ways specifically with like a baseball season, 162, it can be interminable. You get into the middle of July and it's just like the season drags. You can bet season win totals, and that's a future, right? So you can bet a season win total. They set the number, you say over, you say under. And so every day over a long baseball season, or pick your sport, you bet over or under the season win total. Let's say the Yankees, but let's say they were set at 90. And then with each win or loss, it means a little something more. So that's a future. And I know Dog, we're not going to get into his pockets. All right. That would be dangerous. But I know he likes to go pretty heavy on 4 or 5, maybe 6 teams every year just to keep the juices flowing in the baseball market. So that would be a future. Now to McDavid. Edmonton's in a precarious spot because Draisaitl just signed an extension, and he is the second best player in hockey. We're not going to argue it. But Draisaitl just signed an 8-year extension. He's 29 years old. McDavid's got 1 year left. He's going to get whatever he asked for. He's 28 years old. So obviously both players are in their prime. But they are, the Oilers, the first team since the 77-78 Bruins to lose back-to-back in the NBA final. Obviously a great season last year. They thought they'd build on it this year, and they just got beat by the same team. McDavid, McJesus, whatever you want to call him, we've heard about him forever, but we have to start seeing the results. I mean, this is a guy with 3 Hart trophies. He won the Conn Smythe last year. In 712 games, He's got over 1,082 points. He's got 361 goals, 721 assists. I mean, he's an all-timer, but is he Peyton Manning? Is Connor McDavid Peyton Manning? Because for so long, and I don't know where you would put Manning. I'm not as high on Manning as others, but I don't know where you'd put Manning as far as your pecking order as, greatest quarterbacks of all time. But certainly that run where it felt like every year he was taking on Tom Brady and Brady was winning until Manning took on the Bears and Rex Grossman. You remember that? I think it was 2007. Rex Grossman, and they finally got their championship. And then it's almost like once somebody wins a championship, I think of Barkley who didn't, all of a sudden they graduate into okay, they validated their career. But until then, Manning was just the greatest outside of Marino that we had seen that hadn't won a championship. Well, McDavid's putting together a Manning-like career at this point. I mean, he is 28. He did just lose in back-to-back finals, and he didn't step up when his team needed him. And when you're talking the greats, and it's so easy, just think about it. You go Ali, you go obviously Jordan, you go Gretzky, and on and on. When you're at Brady, when you're talking the greats in a big spot, they show up. And McDavid was great in the final last year. And McDavid had crazy points in the final this year. So I'm not going to pretend like the production wasn't there, but he just leaves you feeling wanting more. I think you would agree with that. There's kind of an empty taste that you're left with after a McDavid game because you're watching and he just looks better than everybody on the ice. He's a better skater. He's more skilled. He's big. And you can't even imagine just physics-wise how he can move like he moves, but you're left wanting. And then you have somebody like a Sam Bennett who was up in St. Louis for years. He's going to be a free agent, and he, along with Marchand and Reinhart and others, but Bennett ends up winning the Conn Smythe. Not necessarily an unknown, but not McJesus. Not a guy that's been anointed the next great one, and it's not just because he's in Edmonton. He is thought of as the generational player. I need more from McDavid. That's what I came away from that thinking. I need more from McDavid. And again, I started the program with this. It's like, shoot, nobody watched the game last night. 2.8 million. That's less than you're going to get on Bravo for the most part. So nobody was dialed in, and we're going to have more of it next year because Florida is going to be that good next year. But we do say goodbye to the NHL season. And then the question is, do we say goodbye to the NBA season next year with Oklahoma City, by the way, laying 6.5 tomorrow night on the road? That's a crazy number. And just to give you an idea, that's the point spread. I know I'm not trying to be trite, but just to give you an idea, they're laying 6.5. They have to win by 7 or more if you want to cover your bet, that being Oklahoma City tomorrow night. They opened 4.5 in the game. And then with the news of the Halliburton injury, and apparently he's a game-time decision tomorrow, that number jumped to 6, and then today it jumped to 6.5. So obviously the market, the bettors, are driving that number up in Oklahoma City's favor. All right? We'll get to that in just a bit because I do want to talk about the greatest duos in the NBA right now. For me, to be honest with you, Jalen Williams, and SGA, I'll take those two against any two that you can come up with. Let's get to your calls here. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. And we'll say hi. We'll talk a little NHL with our buddy David in Maryland. Hi, David.
So, Patrick, hi. How are you?
I'm great, David. How are you?
Doing great. So,
hey, David, you know what I heard recently? Hold on, before you go. You know what I heard recently?
Yes.
I heard you're friends with my guy Mike Stoney.
Oh my God, I've known Stoney for 40 years. Yeah.
He texted me the other day. He heard from you. I was like, my guy David in Maryland? That's a good job by you.
Oh yeah, we've been friends I met him 40 years ago when he was going to American University. He dated a friend of mine, and he worked for George Michael's Sports Machine, and we stayed in touch. Yeah, good guy.
Yeah, just context. Just if I could
Philly.
provide context, I grew up in Detroit, and Stoney and Wojo were the Mike and Mad Dog. So Chris and Mike, Stoney and Wojo were my Mike and the Mad Dog, and they were my inspiration for getting into sports talk radio. And that's who we're talking about here with our buddy David in Maryland. Go ahead, David.
You mean the kid Stoney that still loves the Eagles, the Phillies, the Sixers, and the Flyers more than anything.
I think you're
But
right.
He did a great job with Wojo, and then he did a great job with Jansen, who played for the Commanders.
Absolutely.
Were you one of the 2.8 last night?
I was dialed in. I was into it, David.
I was also. And I'll tell you my feeling on the game. Bobrovsky won that game because his stick work last night and him coming out of the crease, nobody was beating him last night. And when Edmonton plays yo-yo with their goalie in the NHL Finals, there was no way they were winning. No way.
They killed the confidence of Skinner. I hated the move to pull him and then go back to Pickard and then go back to Skinner. Once you do that, you're done mentally.
Absolutely. Patrick, nice to hear you.
You too, buddy. And by the way, David, back in COVID, just a little throughout the next few days, we'll sprinkle in a little Mad Dog Sports Radio history. You guys remember COVID? Fun times. Not saying we're digging dirt here, but we were still doing a sports show. The only thing there was to talk, well, first off, I was betting horses, so I was probably the only one. But the only thing to talk about during COVID was The Last Dance. You guys remember? That was actually like serendipitous that they were releasing that when everybody was locked in the house, because a lot of kids, a younger generation, got to understand exactly what Michael Jordan meant, what he meant, I should say. And it was a tremendous documentary, really well done. But we were filling 3 hours a day during COVID. And so we would be interviewing a lot of the people that were subjects on the show and just trying to get by. I think we turned Fridays on the show into an open bar, played country music from Canada. It got kind of weird. But I do believe at that time, David sent me to my crib in Vegas pistachios. So, David, with that, I thank you. 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. I see some people want to talk about Caitlin Clark. That is something that is starting to feel weird to me because, again, 47-year-old man, I kind of have my finger on the pulse of what's happening on the planet. All right, I get it. Iran, I get it. Social divides. But it's starting to feel, is icky a word? Where are you all actually dialed into the WNBA? Or is there some sort of political, racial oddity that I'm not quite grasping? You can answer that question for me. We continue. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Clear.
City for many years, close to 10 years. And the guys were just talking about J-Date. J-Date is, in particular, for Jewish people to date Jewish people. And because I lived in New York, I ended up dating a lot of Jewish girls. There was one girl named Nadine, and her dad was a doctor. And I got him the John Adams biography. Apparently, he was big into presidential history. So am I. I presented him with the John Adams book. And we had a nice dinner. Shalom. He pulled me aside after the dinner and said, appreciate the book. I never want to see you again. That was it. That's when I realized I'm not in the right house here, brother. That was weird. Anyway, Caitlin Clark, also weird. Because what I don't understand is why and again, some of it's racial. I understand some of it's political. But like last night, and people love betting the WNBA. You can go to VSiN.com and get picks on the WNBA. I'm not pretending like you can't. But last night, she was being attacked by, it doesn't matter the race, but there were white girl on white girl crime, all that kind of stuff. Do the other players in the WNBA understand, and I don't have a side in this at all, but do they understand the glow up of the league in particular is because she pops? It just is. Like that she is bringing eyeballs since her college days at Iowa, now into the WNBA. It just seems like an odd, like dichotomous situation where everybody hates the player that is popular in some way, popularizing the league. I mean, they were literally attacking her. It looked like WWE last night. I don't know what the hell's going on. Maybe Biscuit can help me with it in Houston. What up, Biscuit?
What's up, my brother? It's like you say, man. Get it straight, man. It's biscuit and gravy, not muffin and jelly. Now, let's
I hear you, brother. I hear you.
Man, listen. Before I get to CC, man, we got to get away from this, man. Blaming guys because the team ain't as good. You know what I mean? Florida had a better team. So what you thought McDavid was going? He tried, but they just had a better team. And and it's almost like if your goalie and your defense is suspect, it's just defense wins champion. You're not going. McDavid can do all he can flip on his head, but if they can't stop the goalie giving up 3 goals in the first period, what's he gonna do? So I mean, that's just my pet peeve, man. We can't keep blaming stars when their team is not as good as the other team.
You're right. But Biscuit, call me back about Caitlin Clark. I got a break. But look, you're not wrong about McDavid. The Panthers are better. But when we're constantly waterboarded with the concept that McDavid's the greatest player since Wayne Gretzky, yeah, I need him to do something special. That's the bottom line. Aaron Halterman joins us next. We'll get some baseball bets in. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
I got a personal situation I need our next guest to help me out with, but first, you're home for the NBA Finals. SiriusXM NBA Radio Channel 86, Oklahoma City Thunder. Aaron Halterman's a Thunder fan. Bring it. They're one win away from the title, 3-2 lead. Series shifts back to Indiana for Game 6 tomorrow. Join us for exclusive interviews, in-depth analysis, and complete coverage to get you ready for every moment. It's all happening right now on Channel 86 or wherever you are on your SiriusXM app. Also let you know the newsletter. People freaking love this VSiN newsletter because it's free. People love free stuff. You ever go to a baseball game and you're walking around and people are signing up for credit cards for a T-shirt? Dummy. Focus. If you sign up for a credit card, that will affect your credit. The piece of cotton from India ain't going to do anything for you. Anyway, the newsletter is free. It's vsin.com/newsletter to sign up. No obligation. Free picks, the betting menu for the day. All right. We welcome you back, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Aaron Halterman is joining us, part of the family. RacingDudes.com proprietor, professional bettor, VSiN host, and he's fired up about the baseball season. He's a big hockey bettor. And we should take a second, a little Florida Panther appreciation. This is a team you were on for a while now. You know, the irony of the Panthers now potentially turning into some sort of dynastic run is, I don't know, it's the Florida Panthers. That's an issue for the league.
A little. Yeah, a little bit. It is weird, right? Because we had Tampa and the run they went on, and then we had a little break, and now we've got Florida and the run they're currently on. It's strange. I never, ever thought I would be a Florida Panther, bandwagon fan, but here I am. And really the reason why, and I don't know if you probably don't remember this, but 3 years ago, you had me on one of your shows for like maybe the first or second time, and the Panthers were in Boston for the second game of a series. Boston had just won the President's Trophy, and the Panthers were plus 200 to win the game. That's not a puck line, right? And I came on your show and I said, Boston is going to lose this game. Panthers plus 200. And everybody on your show went, this guy is nuts. And they won the game, and they ended up winning the series. And I've loved them ever since because it just felt like it's destiny with me and the Panthers. But look, to be serious, what they've done is really incredible. 3 years ago, they were a very good team. They got better 2 years ago and won the Cup. And what did they do after winning the Stanley Cup? They got noticeably better the next year, specifically at the trade deadline. Getting Seth Jones was massive, and then getting Brad Marchand was even more massive. And that's kind of who they are now, right? They have a core group of guys, Barkov, Kachuk, Reinhart. I think they'll have Bennett. He'll come back. Guys like that, and they just build pieces around that core. And as long as they've got those guys, Bravosky, throw him in there. They've got him for another year or two. They're going to be tough. They've just got playoff style players. They've got toughness. That's the other thing. Matthew Tkachuk, he should not even be playing in the playoffs. He plays the entire playoffs. Like, they set the tone, right? They just do things like that make you go, wow. Not only are they very good and they're just a dominant team with great skill, they're also extremely, extremely tough. And oh, by the way, when he's on, he's the best goalie in the world, talking about Bravosky. So it's just a complete team. And Patrick, they made an Edmonton team. Now they're going to take some flack, and they should. This Edmonton team destroyed the Western Conference in the playoffs. They killed them. They killed Vegas. They killed Dallas. People thought it was their year. Florida dominated this series. Yes, it went 6 games. They were ahead almost the entire series. It's unbelievable.
The great point by you. Falling down 0-2 to the Kings. After that, Edmonton made everybody look pedestrian.
Yep.
And Florida, literally, now overtime games, but they led the whole entire series. And last night, they made the Oilers look pedestrian. I wrote down a couple of things, and again, by talking about the market of Sunrise, Florida, whatever the hell it's called, like, I'm not diminishing the Panthers. I'm just talking macro, like, it's the NHL. It's about as, it's Cuba. You're closer to Cuba than you are Canada. So it's like, what? I wrote this down about the Panthers, just some things as I was thinking about them this morning for the show. Antagonistic, self-assured, trash-talking, bigger, badder, and know it. draw penalties, don't take penalties, and have a Hall of Fame goaltender. Like, what am I like? They are the ultimate. And by the way, their forecheck's crazy. They tilt the ice. Once they get momentum the other way, I started feeling badly for Skinner last night. What's he supposed to do? They're nonstop.
I mean, they're in the zone the entire game, and that's what you said. So the only thing the other team can do is kind of, hey, our goalie makes a save, or maybe we kind of win a puck battle, and then we can kind of counter that, and maybe we'll get an odd man rush, possibly, and we can get a goal off that. But zone time against the Panthers, forget about it. You're just not having that much zone time against them. So it's just got to be kind of the reaction if they don't put it in the back of the net, or they do something stupid kind of down on their offensive end. And yeah, that's exactly, I mean, you laid it out perfectly. And not to mention, I think, I think Maurice is probably one of the top 3 coaches in the league as well. I know great players make you look like a great coach because every decision you make works because they're great players. But still, I think he's kind of got his kind of attitude over this team. They've bought into this, hey, It's us against the world. Like we're not individuals, we're a team. We don't carry scores, all that kind of stuff. I think it's easy for teams to say that. I think every team likes to say that. I think the Panthers actually live that. I think that's the big difference between them and a lot of teams in the NHL. I truly believe they don't care who scores the goals. They don't care who's the hero. They just want to win, and that's rare. And here's the last thing, and what is very rare about them, and what's rare about a lot of teams that are heavy trash talkers. Usually the teams that talk a lot of trash, when it gets really tough, they kind of wilt. That's why they talk trash, because they wilt when it really matters. They're bullies, right? This team, they're the opposite of that. They talk all the trash, and then they go kick your ass, right? And that is fun to me. Like, I hate the corner that's mouthing the receiver all day, and the receiver gets 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, right? These guys would lock it down if they were in the NFL, right? Just like they lock it down in the NHL. So that, to me, that's a great quality that they have.
You nailed it. Like, oftentimes when a bully is a bully, it's because there's an insecurity there, and when you push back on the bully, they wilt.
Yep.
The Panthers are bigger and badder than you, and they know it, and they kind of laugh. Like, when Edmonton started getting into the chippy stuff, you could tell Florida's like, oh my gosh, we set a trap, and you fell right into it. Because that is going to ultimately take you off your game. And you mentioned Maurice, who now has gone to 3 straight Stanley Cups. Finals. Knobloch is on the other side. I hated what he did with the goaltending. Now, you can argue what's he supposed to do. Pickard was bad, but remember, I said it in real time. Hated pulling Skinner. That showed weakness. I understand that this is common, what you do in hockey. You pull the goaltender when he's giving up cheapies. But maybe it was game 3, Halterman. But he pulls him, and then he obviously was like, yeah, we don't. Then he goes back to him, and then he gives up 3. He pulls him. He goes to Pickard. And then he starts Pickard. Pickard struggles, and he goes back to Skinner. Once you're in that loop, you're toast. It's mental.
Yeah, it is. And I don't think Knobloch is terrible, but I think he made terrible mistakes in this series specifically. I did not see many adjustments as well as the series went on, where Maurice obviously did. But the biggest thing is the goalie situation. It's kind of twofold. One, he didn't manage it very well. You cannot play goalie roulette in the finals, especially when the guy standing on the other side of the ice is Bobrovsky. You just can't do it. Whoever you've got in that net, they got to know, hey, you're our guy, right? Win, lose, draw, you're the guy. We're going to go with you. And if you lose, hey, whatever, but you're the guy. And you're right. It was just back and forth and back and forth. And look, I think, Edmonton's got to address the situation. That's the other part of it as well. Wayne Gretzky said it on the post game, and I couldn't agree more. He said, you just simply, I don't care what decision was or what the goalie situation was or what happened, you simply cannot win a Stanley Cup with that situation in net. And they've got to make a decision. This is our guy. It's one of these guys, or get rid of them and get the guy. And win or lose, make sure when you go in the next playoff, you have a guy that's your guy, and it doesn't matter. Yeah, you might pull him because he let some softies, but he's coming right in the next night, and that's it. There's no thought, because you're right. It gets to be a little bit mental. When you do it once, I think it does give you a boost, and it did. When he put Pickard in, it gave him a little bit of a boost. he probably should have just stuck with him from that point forward after that. Because to me, when what happened to Skinner, and you articulated it well, game 3 was a nightmare. Game 4 was a nightmare. He's done at that point. It's like he's not coming back from this. So ride with Pickard and see what happens from that point on.
I would think Skinner is not going to be Edmonton's goaltender next year because first off, Skinner is from Edmonton. He getting death threats. Like you can't just run it back next year with a hometown boy that's struggled in the Stanley Cup final. It's not going to happen. They're going to have to find a new goaltender.
They have to. And look, if I'm a team that has a goalie that say maybe has 1 or 2 years left on their contract, I'm going to Edmonton and I'm shopping him because here's the deal. I think they're in a little bit of a desperate mode because here's the deal. I don't know what's going to happen, but McDavid's last year of this contract is next season. There is a ton of pressure. They've already lost 2 in a row. It's very hard to get to the finals. They've blown 2 chances, right? They're going to be desperate. And I think if you've just got he's an everyday starter, but he's just kind of a marginal everyday starter, you might be able to get a lot more than you should for that guy. I think a lot of teams that have that type of player, they need to think about it because I think you could take advantage of a team that is very vulnerable right now. And it's going to be, their offseason is going to be fascinating because you've got Connor McDavid, okay? I think he's like 28, 29 years old.
Yep.
If they don't win next year, what is he thinking? Because here's the deal. We can all talk about how he's the greatest player in the league right now, and he is. But championships are championships, right? You have to win them as an athlete to get into the next kind of level of conversation. If he believes they're not going to get it done in Edmonton, I would not be shocked if he looks around, especially if they fumble something big and like they get it halfway through the season and they look terrible and their goalie situation's not going great or whatever, name any kind of problems they might have. It's going to be interesting. So it's a very pivotal year. And to me, if I'm GMs around the league, I'm really looking at that and going, how can we kind of take advantage of the situation? Because they're going to go all in, and maybe we can get some pieces for 2-3 years down the road that can really help us.
That's a great point. Aaron Halterman joining us here, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Part of the family for many years, racingdudes.com with the horse racing and the sports betting over at VSiN. Yeah, they extended Draisaitl for 8 years. Draisaitl's 29. He's going to be there. He's still in his prime. McDavid's 28. He's got 1 year left. Like, if McDavid dances with the thought of leaving Edmonton, that would be, that would be wild. But I think he's going to say to the organization, you got to show and proof. Are you going to improve? Because I can go anywhere I want. People are going to be willing to pay me whatever I want. It'd be fascinating if at 29 years old, essentially, he were to leave Edmonton.
Yeah, I don't think it's impossible. I really don't. Because of what I just laid out, you could be the best player in the league, but you've got to get that Stanley Cup. And I don't know, maybe he looks at some situations and goes, man, I would fit in really well there. And I could just kind of be, because, at Edmonton, he has to carry everything. Him and Draisaitl really do. If I could just go be a piece somewhere, what would that look like? How many goals could he score if he wasn't the only thing you had to focus on, right? So, things like that could go through his mind. Now, again, I'm not necessarily saying he's going to leave, but I'm saying that championship means a lot. You can tell. I thought last year he took it really rough. This year, it wasn't that much of a heartbreak. Like, you kind of tell they were going to beat, but he's taking these rough. He knows he's got to get it done. Man, I don't know. The other side of it is, boy, if he was to bring the cup back to Canada, it'd be an amazing story. And I'm sure that's kind of in the back of his mind as well. So it's just going to be very interesting to see how it shakes out. Because, let's face it, any team that he would go to, they're instantly going to be a lot better than they were the day before when they didn't have him. So he's that type of guy. He's a generational guy. So if Edmonton fumbles and it's, they screw that up, that's going to be fascinating.
Aaron Halterman, we're going to get to the basketball. He's a Thunder fan, lives in Oklahoma, down there near the Ozarks, as we got a Game 6 tomorrow. By the way, just monitoring, we're betting Ecuadorian soccer. We're getting weird. The big guy's gone, and so I decide now it's weird with the big guy, but we're getting weird, and we're betting Ecuadorian soccer. No need to worry, but we bet LDU de Quito and Barcelona SC. We bet over 2.5. We're 13 minutes in. It's still nothing, 0-0, but I can feel goals coming. Now, can I see goals coming? No, because Ecuadorian soccer is not on television. But I am following
Imagine that.
on my app, Ecuadorian soccer. I go back to Friday with the Thunder, and the third quarter was the first time I was like, how could I be so wrong about something? Like, I think the Pacers could win the series. The Thunder on Friday night, quarter 3, looked stale offensively, looked a little shook, which is weird because this is such a team with mental fortitude, even though they're so young. Just didn't look in a rhythm. And then the fourth quarter came around, and they were like, cute series. We're going to go ahead and take this now. SGA was fantastic. Their defense in the fourth quarter on Friday night was fantastic. And then you go to game 5, and yeah, okay, Halliburton injury. The Pacers weren't winning that game. I know they cut it to 2 late, but you have to be feeling good about your Thunder. Now, it opened 4.5. It has been bet up to 6.5 in Indianapolis tomorrow because of the news of the Halliburton injury. How are you feeling about your Thunder right now?
Yeah, I would echo what you said. First of all, I just, through 4 games, I just was kind of shaking my head like, I don't know if they have it or not, right? They just didn't kind of look like themselves. Game 5, they looked like the team that played all regular season and won 68 games, finally. And so I think they've gotten over the hump. I think they're going to win tomorrow night. I think the Halliburton situation, to me, that line tells me he's not going to play, or if he does play, he's not near 100%. I just don't think it'd be 6.5 and going up every time I look. If he was a go, 100% a go. So if he doesn't play, I think they've got it. If he does, I still think they've got it. I don't know. I'm with you. Like, you watch that game 5 and it's like, I think they finally realized, yes, it may be the finals, but we're the better team here. We just have to play. Williams was incredible. I mean, he pulled them through. I mean, he was the difference in the game, let's be honest, but he can do that. He can do that on the road as well. I wouldn't call him a role player. He's the second player, right? So he can do that. And we talked about last week on the show, then the key is going to be, what do they get out of Chet? If they get what they should get out of him and he plays his game, I think they win, and I think they cover tomorrow night. I really do. I think, again, it just kind of felt like game 5, they got over that hump. You finally watch them, and you're like, I think they realize this is how we win. We got to play this the certain way that we play. We got to play fast. The defense finally came through, Patrick. I felt like they weren't defending all that well until the second half of that game. They got turnovers finally. And it was like, this is what we thought would happen when the series started. Their defense would be good enough to kind of, slow down the Pacers enough to where that would make the difference. And it finally happened. So defense should travel. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to cover.
Yeah, you said it about Williams, who had 40, and is just awesome. In fact, I think SGA and Jalen Williams are the best 1-2 in all of basketball right now. We're going to talk about it later on the program and take calls on it, but you'd be hard pressed to find. It's almost like with Chet, I don't even really care about his offense. He can still make an impact defensively, and he had a couple of big blocks. He is just that type of player where you let him roam defensively, and the Pacers or any team that's playing the Thunder, they're a little hesitant because they know that he's back there. So I agree with you about Chet as well. And that brings us to SGA. SGA, I believe in Game 5, had 31 and 11 dimes and was overshadowed by Jalen Williams. But 31 and 11 is just kind of like, yeah, that's pretty standard. That's what he does. I'm thinking of another Thunder, and that's Kevin Durant. And Durant was beloved by the fan base there, this, and then it didn't end well. And I know SGA is beloved by the fan base, but it doesn't feel nationally, like even at MVP status, like he gets the respect he deserves, because he literally just goes out and drops 30 in every game.
I feel a lot of that is he kind of came out of nowhere. Like, us Thunder fans watched him kind of mature and develop, and we're like, yeah, he's really good. Like, in the first year they got him, and like, yeah, this kid's going to be really good. But, Kevin Durant was kind of like the guy. Remember, like, when his 1 year at Texas was like, that was must-watch TV. Like, everybody knew that guy, right? So I think when you come out of the draft and you have that boost already, and you're already kind of that household name, it helps. SGA who really even heard of this guy before he got going the last 3 years, right? So I think it's just a slow burn to kind of get there. I mean, look, the other thing is the NBA is a league where winning an MVP, winning a championship, then the next year it's like, okay, yeah, we know it. We accept him into the community. You've kind of seen it with the calls, right? Like he gets the star calls now. He didn't before this year, but it's like, okay, yeah, now so the officials have accepted him. And so now I think everybody else will as well. But look, a lot of this, to be completely honest, it's where you play a lot of times too, right? It's just Oklahoma City and Indiana both. They're just smaller markets. And, if SGA was in New York or LA, what do you think they'd be saying about him, right? I mean, that's where the national media really picks up on you, right? It's like, oh, it's Oklahoma City. He's down there. Who cares? But he's going to make you care because of a championship and an MVP.
And by the way, LA could have had him. The Clippers had him, and they traded him for Paul George, which is one of the biggest disasters of all time. Right. Our buddy Aaron Halterman. All right, let's get a few baseball plays in before we say goodbye. We've got games starting later, and I think you got bets on all of them, including the Guardians and Angels. You are taking the over in this matchup with Cleveland and San Francisco.
Yeah, went ahead and handicapped all three of these and gave you picks for all three tonight, so you got some entertainment because we got nothing else, right? So Guardians and Giants, yeah, look, Verlander on the mound for the Giants. He's not what he was. Obviously, he's not real trustworthy. I don't know. I think Cleveland will hit him a little bit. Bullpen's been kind of shaky lately for the Giants. It's been pretty good. Last few games, not as good. And then Allen on the mound for the Guardians, another just kind of average pitcher. And I looked at the total and thought that's 7.5. That's not a ton. So I think the over's the play here. Look, I know the Guardians, they kind of have been a little bit of a disappointment this year, but I think they're playing a little bit better as of late. They won last night. So yeah, give me the over 7.5. I think there's going to be runs at this game.
7:05 West Coast time. The Astros are at that bandbox in Sacramento. You're going to lay the 1.5 with the Stros at even money.
Yeah, I just feel like this is a no-brainer to me. Valdez on the mound for Houston. We know what he's going to do. I mean, night in and night out, when he comes out there, he's not giving up much, right? And I just think the Astros, look, the Athletics, you almost feel sorry for them. It felt like they're making a little bit of progress, and now they've got this situation. They still have no fans. Now they're playing this minor league ballpark. They just don't look very good. Severino's kind of been beat up a little bit. And you said it. I mean, this stadium, I mean, the Astros might get 10 tonight, right? I mean, it's you can hit home runs fairly easily there. Minor league ballpark, big surprise. But anyway, yeah, I think the Astros win this one pretty comfortably with Valdez on the mound. I don't mind laying the 1.5 because I think he'll shut down the Athletics pretty well tonight.
And you're expecting Padres-Dodgers, good rivalry there. You're expecting runs tonight, going to go over the 9.5.
Yeah, looking forward to watching this game. First of all, this will be a good one. Anytime these two teams play right now, it's fun. I do think it goes over the 9.5. You've got Emmett Sheehan on the mound for the Dodgers coming back here. First start of the year. I don't know how long he's going to pitch. Will it be 2-3 innings? I'm not sure. I don't think it'll be much. So I think the bullpen comes in. We know the Dodgers are going to hit. It doesn't matter who's pitching for the other team. The Dodgers usually are going to get runs. So I'm expecting a high scoring game. I would lean, here's the deal. I would lean Dodgers minus the 1.5, but the price, it still isn't good enough. So I'm going to take the over on the runs, thinking the Padres are going to score a little bit as well with kind of a sketchy pitching situation tonight for the Dodgers.
Yeah, both teams lit up the scoreboard last night. I would expect it to continue as well. Let's go Thunder. We'll be texting tomorrow. Hopefully you get a championship there in Oklahoma. You deserve it. Sooners certainly aren't going to do anything anytime soon. No offense.
Nope, they're not.
And
they
you love the coach. You love that hire. You hated Lincoln Riley.
Well, I was half right. Lincoln Riley does suck something fierce, but so does Brent Venables. So I was half right, half wrong there. So, listen, I think OU has bigger problems than Venables. I think they were late with the NIL situation. I do think they have this taken care of. I still don't think he can coach. I think they'll be better. I don't know. 8 wins maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, I think I drunkenly made at the Kentucky Derby a bet with you that Lincoln Riley would have like 2 national championships in 5 years. I don't think I'm going to get there.
No. We also bet like a head-to-head win total, and like they both are so bad. It's like, I don't know who has more.
I think we got to toss the bet. That's what it comes down to. Halty, thank you. RacingDudes.com, VSiN as well. Gave us 3 baseball plays. That's doing a good job. Talk to you soon, Aaron. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, man. We'll see you later.
All right. I see Shaka in Atlanta as part of the family. Shout to Shaka in Atlanta, part of the family. He's in the mix with Ecuadorian soccer. I'm not going to lie, not a great start, but don't worry. This is how it goes in South America. De Quito and Barcelona SC tied up at nothing in the 23rd minute. We got plenty of time to go, folks. We just need to get over 2.5, and we're going to get there. All right? I see Noopadoop. Noops is coming up next, talking NBA postseason. We'll get some bets for Game 6. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson. Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
A Shaka in Atlanta. Isaiah Jacob. Who else is tailing Ecuadorian soccer? We got a goal, people. We got a freaking goal. Taquito. You knew Taquito in the 28th minute was going to come through. So we're 1-0 LDU Taquito over Barcelona SC, and we still got plenty of time in the first. Okay, so plenty of time. We need 2 more goals. We're going to cash it as a family. You love to see it. Ecuadorian soccer on a random Wednesday. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Let's freaking go. These kids back in New York, they give me no props. They would keep real quiet when it was goalless for a while. All of a sudden, we got a goal on the board. Let's go. Noops. You hear him in the background. Alex Noops Christensen, FTN Fantasy, with the basketball expert, and he joins us to talk about Game 6. First off, can I interest you in Ecuadorian soccer?
Absolutely. That's why I was laughing. I don't know if that sound made it through or not, but I think it speaks to what we're getting to, kind of these sports doldrums, if you will. Once, the NBA Finals finish, once the Stanley Cup finishes, with all due respect to all these people that seem to like baseball, there's just baseball. Now, we've got plenty of tennis. I'm excited for the grass court season, but that just doesn't seem to grab people. So I'm always curious to see, and I love this time of the year because you find out people like you, Patrick, are betting Ecuadorian soccer. I don't know. I assume someone's playing table tennis somewhere. Are we going to get back into that?
Yeah. Well, people were like, hey, COVID stunk because there were no sports. I was like, do you not know the horses are running and also they're playing baseball in Japan? Like in Korea? You have plenty to bet here, Noops. You can
Belarusian soccer. It was all happening.
Yeah, it's always all happening. In fact, somebody called up yesterday and said they bet, I don't know, maybe it's DraftKings or FanDuel, they bet on kids playing EA Sports. Like you can bet on kids playing video games. I don't know if that's something you've dabbled in.
Well, it's my understanding it's a really big market, and I assume what you're talking about is a little less serious than what we've got some of these pro esports and stuff. People playing games I've never heard of against each other. I mean, I don't know, Patrick. I didn't really play video games that much growing up, so I hardly know anything about it. Not even nearly enough to bet on it. I mean, I don't know what these games even are.
I retired my Nintendo controller after Super Mario Brothers. And then even in college, when my friends were getting hammered and high and playing video games, I just couldn't dial in, Noops. It wasn't my thing. I know everybody was playing James Bond, shoot 'em up, and whatever the football game was. I just couldn't dial in.
Mario Kart on N64. That was it for me, and I will still to this day, as long as I get to be Princess Peach and it's on an N64, I'll play whoever, anywhere, anytime for money.
You know what? I pegged you as a Princess Peach kind of guy. All right, Noops. Before we came on, you were talking about like the melancholy that's starting to settle in. You are a huge NBA guy, obviously FTN Fantasy with the NBA expert. But the way you were talking, it feels like you think Game 6 is going to be it for this NBA season.
It's really difficult to look at this situation, especially with everything floating around with Tyrese Halliburton. He's got a calf strain. He was able to finish Game 5, but it did not look like himself. And even if he does play in the same state, physical state that he was for the last game, the Pacers just don't have enough juice here. With all due respect to Pascal Siakam, who's been fantastic throughout this series, some guys like TJ McConnell, Obi Toppin has been really fun. It's been a great run for this Pacers team, but the key to unlocking the whole thing, the straw that stirs the drink, if you will, it's Halliburton. And if he's limited or out, I just don't know what happens here. We saw Andrew Nembhard in the last couple games has really struggled to bring the ball up the floor, to generate positive offense, to avoid just turnovers. I mean, some of the worst passes you've seen in the last game. So I do think unless Halliburton again can play and looks like himself, it's going to be over here, I think. I don't know if we're going back to Oklahoma City.
Yeah, it's all the way up to 6.5. After, 4.5-ish on the open, bet up to 6.5 with the Halliburton news. And again, even if, like you said, if you get Halliburton, he's going to be limited. You mentioned Nembhard, who is feast or famine offensively, but they need to leave him in there defensively. But I laugh when somebody tries to bring the ball up past half court against this Oklahoma City team. Like, honestly, I think Lou Dort's like one of the great basketball players I've ever seen. Like, there's certain guys that you just fall for, and Dort is indispensable. Their wing defense is insane. They're just relentless.
It's incredible, and it's the system. They built a team full of guys that are long athletes that can switch, and it's not just their scheme, it's the fact that they can run it. It's a very aggressive scheme, the way that they start trapping as soon as they get across half court, the way that they generate turnovers. And it's I really try to say the word generate. If you're familiar with tennis, you have a concept of forced errors and unforced errors. A lot of NBA teams defense do rely on unforced errors, just teams making bad decisions. The Thunder create turnovers. They really go over and take the ball from some of these guys. So that's again why Halliburton is so important. And I've been a little surprised and disappointed. Rick Carlisle's been great throughout these entire playoffs, but I haven't seen any adjustments from him offensively to really try to free this up. Now, we'll still see. They've had a couple days to put some stuff in. I don't know if we'll see screens higher up on the floor, maybe them trying to run their offense a little bit and kind of even before they get across half court to try to make some moves here. But it is absolutely stunning to watch this Thunder defense, one of the best defensive units I've ever seen.
Yeah, and you mentioned Carlisle. Look, I got corrected, and rightfully so, by the listeners yesterday. I killed Carlisle for taking out McConnell. And I know when McConnell came out, they cut it to 2. But McConnell's impact in this series, he played 22 minutes. He's got to play 30 minutes in that game. He was having a direct impact. McConnell's been awesome.
Yeah, he really has. And I'm going to go back through here the game log because there was a moment in the fourth quarter where I understand – from the 1,000-foot view, from the practical standpoint, McConnell is not the best player here. He is not someone that should be playing. I would say I disagree with you. Maybe he should be playing 30 minutes, but I would have brought him back in that fourth quarter because what he does, the most important thing that he brings when he's on the floor is energy. And it got to a point where, again, they got the game to about 2 points, and then it started to stretch out again. When I'm starting to take a look here, the Thunder basically drag it all the way up to about a 14-point lead with 5 minutes left. That's when I'm bringing Halliburton in after that run, just to try to change the energy and just to again, have something go a little bit different, especially once you realized Halliburton wasn't himself. So I understand what everyone's saying, and I'm not saying McConnell should play a ton more minutes, but I definitely want to ran him back out there for 2 or 3 minutes just to try to change what was going on, to stop the momentum.
Well, you mentioned energy, and you can tell his teammates are buoyed when he's in the game as well. There's just a spark. Again, maybe I'm exaggerating or being a little heavy with the 30 minutes, but he's certainly had an impact. The game itself, props, side, total, are you doing anything with it? I know you like Oklahoma City in the game.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, interruption, and I'm sorry, Noops.
Another Taquito goal?
A Barcelona goal. So now, 35 minutes in, LDU Taquito 1, Barcelona SC 1. We got a full freaking game to get one more, people. We are going to cash. We are betting Ecuadorian soccer. This is VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Come on, Noops. I you know what I love about you, Noops? I can tell you're on Team VSiN Live. Let's go.
How can you not be? How can you not be on the side of people just, and with all due respect, Patrick, maybe you're an Ecuadorian soccer sharp. Maybe you've been watching Ecuadorian soccer for years, but I get the feeling, based on the tone of your voice, that maybe you just sort of reached into the bag today, flipped through the book, and went, well, this looks interesting. I guess over 2.5 was plus money, and you were like, yeah, let's do it.
How dare you? I have been dialed into Ecuadorian soccer. Now, the problem is I'm not going to be able to find it on my YouTube TV because, they don't show Ecuadorian soccer, so I am watching on the app, and those at VSiN Live can see at YouTube 1-1, 37th minute. Effing go. Sorry, I interrupted you on the plays. My apologies.
No, that's okay. As far as the game goes itself, my favorite full game play would be to look towards an under here. I think even if Halliburton plays, he's going to be limited. They're going to struggle. I'm looking to find ways to sort of bet the under. I think the best way to do it, though, is going to be a Pacers team total under. Now, I know that's scary to do at home. They shoot much better at home. Things have been just a lot more comfortable and efficient for them in that surrounding. But 107.5 points. If Halliburton doesn't play, that should be closer to 104.5, 105.5. We've got a nice big edge there. And if he does play and is 75, 80% of what he could capably be, I could make a case it should again be like 104.5, 105.5. So I am going to kind of hold my nose here. And because a lot of times, guys, betting is about eating the stinky cheese, I will eat the stinky cheese of the Pacers under 107.5 team total to go along with two bets I've made all series. It's cashed, I believe, in all but two games here. The Thunder first quarter, Thunder first half. Oklahoma City has been the better team for the first 48 minutes of just about every single game in this series. Again, I think they've covered both of these numbers in all but one or two games of this series so far. I continue to love them. I'm seeing the Thunder first quarter -2, and I'm seeing the Thunder first half -3.5, -4. I think those are both great numbers, again, to go along with that stinky Pacers team total under 107.5.
It is stinky, but so is money. Here's the thing.
Hopefully not.
Well, yeah, you would hope not. Here's the thing, Noops. Basketball is great, but love is better. And once the series concludes tomorrow, you can get back to your wife and love. Love matters. And you know what? Maybe even some potlucks around the neighborhood.
I was wondering where you were heading with that. I was, where are we going with this big grand gesture? But yes, it's something I joke about all the time on the BetUS NBA show, and I'm going to hang around with the folks at FTN. It really is going to be a period of, what do I do with myself? I joke that I'm wandering around the house, with these days off. All the chores are done, Patrick. There's not any single thing left to do. Everything that needs to be fixed or painted or moved or whatever is done. Everything is boxed up. I'm just kind of staring at walls, wondering what to do. Maybe I'll get into Ecuadorian soccer. It sounds like fun.
You text me, brother, because we're ahead of the curve here. Okay, FTN Fantasy, Alex Noops Christensen. You're the best. Hey, well, I guess even if they did play a Game 7, this would be the last time we'll talk during the NBA season. So maybe we'll talk Wimbledon coming up in a bit.
Absolutely. Wimbledon, this NBA draft thing, people love betting on that, Patrick. I'm sure we'll find some time. So always the best of luck to you. Let's get another goal in Ecuadorian soccer, and let's win all our bets till we talk again.
Let's go, Noops. Thanks, Noops. Appreciate you. Have a nice night.
You too.
Okay. Hey, Isaiah, you donk, back in New York City. Throw your mic on. Did you bet this game?
Oh, come on, Patrick. You know me. Hell no. I got no money in the bank right now. I got bills to pay.
This is just like doing a show with the big guy. I am tired of the brokies, all right? If I'm going to do, as Noop said, extensive research on LDU de Quito and Barcelona SC, I want the family all. I know Jacob's broke ass didn't bet on it. We did hear from Shaka in Atlanta. He bet on it. You can hit us up at the Rap Radio to let me know if you tailed Ecuadorian soccer as a family. All right? That's Noops. Coming back with your calls. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Now back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
I don't even know what type of English. What do they speak in Ecuador? I don't know, but I know Ramirez got a goal in the 29th and Carrazzo got a goal in the 37th. 1-1. We need to get over 2.5. We need one more goal. 45th minute. We could be going to the break 1-1. That means we still have 45 minutes plus extras to go, people. That's important. Ryan says Portuguese. Maybe it is Portuguese. Here's what I do know. If you go to Ecuador, the scenery is tremendous. You know what I'm saying, boys? 2-1! We cashed! Get the hell out of here. Freaking Ramirez and anybody else that doubted your boy, it is 2-1. Quito just scored, and we are in the first half. So let me guess. We're going to score 12 goals, and let's go, Ryan Smith. Already cashed. I don't even know. I'm going to start buying Christmas presents in June. I'm cashing my money. Well, it's so stupid. You know what? This is going to be a theme. I got to wait for the big guy to get done with his long-winded stuff. I'm coming tomorrow with more South American soccer. And if you're part of the family, you're going to be telling me. Let's go. Let's get to the calls. 2-1. You got to love to see it, people. Here's my guy. I know Twizzy. Twizzy, if you heard me, you got involved in Ecuador. Am I wrong?
Man, look, I'm not even going to lie to you. You know I was listening. And I immediately grabbed my phone and went to my choice of books that I use online, and it's limited here being in California, and it's, I wink, wink. I actually don't bet everybody who's listening.
Yes,
I don't.
Of course.
But,
yes, of course.
But it did not. I could not find it.
Yeah, no, trust me. Trust me. I get it. I
could not find it. I saw all kind of soccer games and teams I've never heard of in my entire life, and I could not find it.
I hear you.
Right,
hey, I also have some of those books here in California where I wink, wink, don't bet. So I have to use many of them so I can find certain soccer. Yeah. Anyway, well, I won't get us arrested. But yes, we are winning here, Twiz. What's going on? How are you?
That sounds like an email. That sounds like an email.
It does.
Look, I am through the roof right now, Patrick, because and I got three things for you real quick.
Please.
The Lakers. Oh my God, I am so excited that they got sold, and they're not in the state that the Dodgers were when with the McCourts, right? They're not the clown show, that they are. But I was not liking the direction and we run like a mom and pop shop. Although the Laker brand is one of the hugest brands in all of sports, they run like a mom and pop shop because the buses, that is their income, whereas most owners, the sports team is their play toy, and they actually have real income. But the buses don't have income the way other owners. So we operate like a mom and pop shop. We can get out of that now, and I'm so excited. And the only thing she's got to go at some point, right? I mean, why is Jenny? I don't know how they swung that. We kind of need her to go in the clown show, and there's reason why LeBron is taking over. But look, on the OKC thing and what you were talking about as far as duos, and I was thinking, you know what, you might be right, and the only other young type duo that you can really compare them to right now, I guess, would be Tatum and Brown, but Tatum's injured, so you might be right, and the now they're gonna on that precipice of winning that championship. OKC has been talked about. Can they do the dynasty thing, right? Well, the one glaring weakness that I see for them, and it's not a second scorer because Will Williams can score. What it is another ball handler. They don't have another ball handler.
True.
That's their problem. If they have the assets, they can go out and get it. But if they get another guy that can be a ball handler, can direct the offense, and SGA can come off of screens, a la the Rip Hamiltons and Reggie Millers of the world type deal, Ray Allens, and he's got that deadly shot, and it's only going to get better. I mean, they got the ingredients. Let's see if they can cook it up.
Yeah, I love the sale. Good to hear from you, Twiz. Twiz is a big Lakers fan. I love the sale. $10 billion. The Buss family sold the Lakers today. Andrew, Pittsburgh, what up?
Pat, I'm just calling to give you your props. Donnelly did the Ecuadorian soccer bet cash. It cashed in the first half.
Thank you.
I just listened to you. I threw 100 down, and I'm just like, oh, what the hell? And then it hits. I'm actually at practice right now, so I got to go. But I just had to call, give you your props. You're the man. You're the man, Pat.
You are for stepping up to the plate and recognizing your boy. And by the way, I think they got another goal. It got taken off the board. It's like 2-2, still in the first half. Ramirez, get the hell out of here. Let me get to these two calls because they've been holding forever about the hockey. Joe in New York. Joe, welcome. Thanks for your patience.
What's going on, Patrick? Thanks for taking my call.
Of course, brother. What's going on?
Well, I've been a long-time listener since the rap days. I just wanted to call, ask you, for me, this Connor McDavid situation kind of has a lot of similarities to Ovechkin, 2010 through 2017, where the only difference is McDavid's making it to the finals. Ovechkin got knocked out in the earlier rounds. But you're saying how he's 28 years old, needs to make it happen. But Ovechkin didn't get his first till he was 32.
That's true. Yeah, what was Ovechkin when he got his cup? Like you said, 32?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe I'm being hard on McDavid. I just wanted more from him. He is that good, so it's I don't know. But the Panthers are awesome. You would agree.
Oh, 100%. They got something good going on down there. But me, myself, I just see a lot of similarities between, the Ovechkin coming up.
That's a good
and,
one.
McDavid coming up,
That's a good one because Ovechkin had been to, I believe he had been to. Good to hear from you, Joe. Thanks for listening for all these years. I think Ovechkin had been to a final and then won one. So, 2 final for McDavid. Now, this is Chris in Tampa where they had quite a little run with the Lightning calling about the Panthers. Hey, Chris.
We did recently, Patrick, but want to kind of give the proper congratulations to Florida, similar to Tampa winning a couple consecutive cups and perhaps returning to a third consecutive, something where we've seen before. So I think Florida has, navigated this playoffs like champions. And, they're with the Kachucks of the world, maybe not somebody you'd root for, but again, they played like the defending champions that they are, and I look forward to maybe seeing them give it a third shot next year. They're certainly speaking the right language now, but that's certainly to be expected.
The question is, will they be able to re-sign Bennett? I think Bennett's going to be a free agent. If they can keep the team together, there's no reason they can't win a third.
Yeah, I mean, like any sport, when you win championships, your teams tend to get kind of broken up, but Florida's kind of held it together, and, I think that's going to be their goal, moving forward. And then just other than that, Patrick, and this is only maybe the second time I've called since you came back to us, so sounds like those days are finite. I blame myself. I'm not allowed to have nice things, so when you came back, it was, going back to the 2016 and 17 with the rap, it was kind of a regular, for my commute home, my kind of hours lined up where my, work day ended. So when you guys were just coming on. So I loved it then and missed you guys. And like I said, I'm not allowed to have nice things. So, because I like your guys' show, it just wasn't meant to be. So I blame myself. It's nice to have you back, and maybe we'll chat once more. But
you should call. You should call more often. I don't even know what the hell just happened. My man likes the show. I like talking to him, and then he started talking about he can't have nice things. You can have nice things. You can call me as much as you want. Hey, we might roll this money over into Mexico and Suriname, whatever the hell that is, and CONCACAF. All right. Let's go. What? I don't understand that call. Just call me again. Let's connect. Spritzer's next.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Dustin Swedelson. Live betting reaction to all of the night's action. You're tuned in to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
All right,
here's
VSiN.
Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Jump the gun. Damro. VSiN, Sirius XM Channel 158. Get 24/7 sports betting coverage on Channel 158 and on the Sirius XM app. And as an exclusive offer for Sirius XM listeners, you can get full VSiN Pro access for the first month for $1.58. You might even find Ecuadorian soccer plays over there for $1.58. You get a daily email with all the best bets from hosts and their guests, exclusive betting splits, DraftKings and Circa, plus our NFL betting guide, which is the best in the business. Go to vsin.com/subscribe. Use the promo code SIRIUS and get your first month of VSiN Pro access for just $1.58. I would say, just a little background on our next guest, since I'm going solo, and that's how it started with me and Scott. I was a big better. I'm older than most of you. So if you go back to like 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, I was in South Carolina and I was scouring message boards and all the sites and all that kind of stuff. And there were like a few big names in the industry that were really accomplished and respected bettors. And one of them was Scott Spreitzer. And so I followed Scott a long time. And then when I started at Mad Dog Sports Radio in 2013, reached out to him. I was lucky enough that he said he would join. And that was, 13, 14, somewhere in there. So we're talking 10, 11 years ago. And he has been consistently coming on with us pretty much every week. And if he can't do it on Zoom. He does it on the phone. You can find him, Doc Sports, DocSports.com, professional handicapper for 30-plus years in Vegas. He is the man, Scott Spreitzer. Hi, Scott.
What an intro. I should not say a word and just get out of here.
Take a bow, my friend. Take a bow. Well, first off, you would be proud of me because I'm betting Ecuadorian soccer, and we covered the 2.5 goals in the first half, which brings us to, bettors. I'm sure you have plenty of stories, but bettors will find anything to bet on. It's just to get to scratch that itch. And you and I, during COVID, betting horses, betting Japanese, Korean baseball. But I'm guessing with 30 years in Vegas or plus, I'm guessing you've seen some pretty crazy things being bet on in Las Vegas, like Ecuadorian soccer, I would say.
Yeah, when we were locked down with COVID, I was actually betting Nicaraguan soccer because it wasn't locked down. So there you go. And KBO is, as you said, we were doing a lot of KBO and even the Taiwan League there for a while. But I don't know, the craziest bet I've ever seen was sitting in the back of a cab with a former bettor who was a guest on our show once in a while over at the Stardust, and we were betting on which raindrop would go from the top of the cab windshield down to the bottom of the windshield. So that's probably the craziest stuff I've ever bet on, were raindrops running down the windshield. And I don't know, I think I've probably done it 2 or 3 times. So that's been the craziest stuff. But yeah, you know what, if you can find an angle in a sport, then why not? And like last weekend, we're betting the over in a UFL championship. I was doing a show at another locale the day before the game, and they're like, "You're really betting that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, I think we got an angle here. We got an advantage, and we're going to play the over." So, anytime we can find any kind of angle. I started betting NASCAR in the mid-'90s, and all I knew about NASCAR at the time was they turn left a lot. And I'm sitting there doing a show, and I look up at the board, and this is back when they used to write the names and all that, and I see Darrell Waltrip's name spelled incorrectly. And I thought, well, I don't know if this is the bookmaker doing this, but somebody back there doesn't know that much about NASCAR. Now, I could be wrong. I just looked at it and said, if they're spelling his name wrong and I know it's wrong, yet I don't follow NASCAR very much, maybe I can get an angle here. And that's when we started betting NASCAR. And I'm going to tell you, Patrick, you remember from back in the days, we talked about it. It was so lucrative just betting a couple of the guys per race to win. And then it started to change a little bit. There were a couple of bookmakers in Vegas. Micah Roberts, who's become a good friend of mine, was with the Station Casinos here in town. He was a NASCAR bettor besides being a sportsbook manager. And so all of a sudden, those great prices went away. And I put it away, NASCAR, for a couple of years. Then we started playing matchups again, and we're finding great deals in matchups. So there's always something out there, even in a niche sport, where you can find some advantages if you work hard enough.
Well, and like you said, my favorite sport to bet is rain, the weather. so that gives you an idea of how sick the guys in Vegas are. I was just thinking while you were talking, you moved from Nebraska down to Vegas to make a living doing this and broadcasting the Stardust and all of that. So you've had a storied career. I wonder when, I guess it would be 6 or 7 years ago when sports betting started to legalize across the nation. Have you noticed a difference in the industry? Has it had an impact on Vegas? Like, what would you say macro about the legalization nationwide?
I would like to say that with the legalization nationwide, the state of Nevada has incorporated more opportunities to bet on more things, and they haven't, which is a bummer. So I see more stuff around the country, around the Western Hemisphere, that offer more opportunities to bet on certain things, in-game stuff or props and things of that nature than here in Nevada. Now, I still see the same kind of crowds, March Madness, opening of March Madness, Super Bowl betting, all that kind of stuff that's still rolling to Vegas from all over the country and especially from California. But that's the biggest thing. It's like, I think they had some influence when it started being legalized on like being able to bet on the NFL draft, which we didn't used to do. And also the resurgence of legalized Olympic betting, which we didn't have for a while. So I think we're seeing a little bit of influence, but still not enough yet. I kind of liked it better, Patrick, for other reasons when Nevada was the only state that had legalized sports betting, because it gave us that it just gave us that extra little, I guess you could say, something you couldn't do anywhere else for Vegas is what I'm trying to say. It just had a charm to it, and it's lost its charm, no doubt about it. Nobody cares if you can bet on anything in the state of Nevada if they're in Iowa. They've got other places and other routes. And so that's a bummer. But, I mean, the biggest thing I see is that maybe down the road in the next few years, we'll see that we can bet on as many things locally in the state of Nevada as they're betting on in other locations around the country.
That's such a great point, because having lived there for 3 years and getting to know people like yourself, of course, talking to professional handicapper Scott Spreitzer here, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio, like the smartest bettors, and it's not even close, were the people I met in Vegas, and the bookmakers were beyond impressive and knew a billion times more than I knew. But I was always taken aback by the menu being so short. And what I mean by that is just like the lack of options. Like for a place that is synonymous with sports betting and betting in general, it does feel like it's been a little slow to catch up with the options.
And it has. And I'm sure it's because of the bean counters, because we've got, like you said, a lot of sharp bookmakers all over the state of Nevada, and some that have been around for, almost half a century, and I'm thinking of guys that recently retired, Jimmy Vaccaro, guys like that. They were never afraid to take a bet. And I think it's the influence of the bean counters upstairs at the hotels that are causing this. I mean, it's like, a week ago, I like to play alternate run lines in baseball. And a week ago, I'm looking for an alternate run line, can't find it anywhere in Nevada. And then if you go into other locations, other big books, in the Western Hemisphere, you see them all over the place, alternate run lines. And so, yeah, you're right. They're slow to making changes. But I bet you if you went into – I'm saying I bet you could lay minus 500 if you went around town, you would get 80% or more of the sports book directors around town who would love to add some of the options, some more bets to Nevada sports books that we get around the country. And it's really a bummer. I mean, I'll look at things and I'm going, man, I've got, 3 or 4 apps here on my phone here in Las Vegas, and none of them have this bet that I want to make. But if I, could go bet somewhere else, boom, it's there.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a bummer.
I didn't know that, Jimmy. So what Scott's referring to, if you go to the South Point, which is a great book, and, it's kind of a unique hotel and casino and book because it's run by Chris Andrews. Jimmy Vaccaro was in the mix. Vinny Magliulo. That's probably 150 years of bookmaking between the three of them.
Easily, yeah.
And they're 3 legends. But I hadn't heard. Did Jimmy retire?
I know they had a retirement party a couple of weeks ago. Another guy that I follow or not follow, but I've known for many, many years. We shot a TV show together, or a pilot many years ago. Had mentioned on his Facebook, and had shown that they were celebrating Jimmy's retirement party. And I asked Matt Humans, I'm like, "Well, is he definitely retiring?" He goes, "Oh yeah, Jimmy's hanging him up." So I'm gonna guess Jimmy's probably around 75, and I know he wouldn't get mad at me if he heard me say that. But I can remember Jimmy Vaccaro's name before I got into this industry. And so it's been that long, and he's been doing it for an awful long time. So you just mentioned, I mean, if you have a Mount Rushmore of bookies, you just mentioned 3 of them that belong. And again, 150 years of combined experience, and I've worked in some fashion or another with all 3 of those guys. Which is really cool to be able to be a handicapper and a bettor to say, Chris Andrews is a friend of mine. We talk about movies half the time that we see each other. Vinny Magliulo, I've worked with Jimmy. So it's kind of a cool thing to be able to be a handicapper who's been able to be friends with those guys.
No, it's the best, and they're all super sharp, super nice guys. And it's so funny you said that. So Chris Andrews is the bookmaker at South Point, and to the left of the book at the South Point, you go into his office, and he's got a table there where he runs the whole entire shop. And always on the television is Turner Classic Movies.
Yep.
Like a Cary Grant movie, a Jimmy Stewart movie. It's like if you immerse yourself in work and sports, you need a diversion. And I would always laugh when I go back there. You would expect the bookmaker would have all the games on. He literally would have just like black and white movies on there all the time.
You know what's funny, Patrick, is back when the Westgate used to have the weekend before the NFL season would start, and they would have those conventions. And there were multiple times when I was asked to host, the NFC preview with maybe 5 bettors on. I would be the host, or the AFC preview or whatever by Jay Cordigay. And one of the things that hits it right on the head about Chris Andrews, and I love the guy, is that he would walk up to me like before my segment, which they were about 45 minutes long. It would be a host and maybe 4 or 5 cappers, and there would generally be a couple hundred people that would come out and watch this. He wouldn't say, for instance, if I was previewing the NFC, he wouldn't say how are the Niners going to do or how's this. He would be like, hey, Scott, did you see that movie that came out last week, the Independent over at Village Square, which, by the way, for folks outside of Nevada or Las Vegas, Village Square was a big indie house for movies. And that would be all he would ask about. And we'd sit there and talk for 15 minutes while other guys are talking about sports betting, about movies. So film noir guy, the whole thing. Just good people over there.
No, it's good people. I'll continue down this thread and then I'll get to the games. What year did you move to Vegas, Scott?
84. It'll be July 8th. We'll make 41 years. I was a ripe 17 years of age when I moved to Las Vegas, a month out of high school.
1984. If we saw a picture, an aerial picture of Las Vegas, Nevada in 84 and compared it to 2025, would it even be recognizable?
No, it would not. If you were born in the last 10 years, you would probably not recognize Las Vegas. There were not as many hotels, obviously, and it was a different architecture type up and down the Strip. It was, the hotels fit the names. Caesar's Palace looked like a palace built in the 60s. The dunes looked like, something out of the Middle East. It was just incredible. And I still, to this day, and I've been saying this for many years, not just because I'm now in my late 50s, but even in my 30s and 40s when things started changing, I miss that Vegas. The Silver Slipper was incredible. But the Dunes was my all-time favorite hotel and casino to this day still. And that, of course, was imploded around 1995, if I remember correctly. So it was much better then. Now it's extremely corporate. Buddy Hackett used to say, I'm going to throw this at you real quick, bringing up Buddy Hackett's name.
Please.
And I hope people know who he is, those that are younger and listening. If you don't, Google him. One of the funniest comedians you'll ever see. And I'll never forget Buddy Hackett one time saying that he liked it better in the 60s and 70s in Vegas if you were standing outside your hotel waiting for a valet or waiting for a bellman to pick up your bags to go into the hotel and check in, and somebody came by and looked at you cross-eyed or grabbed your bag, that guy was going to disappear. Nobody wanted that guy around, that particular person, the perpetrator. And nowadays you just don't have that feel anymore. So it's safe here in Las Vegas for the most part, safer than most big cities, but it doesn't have that feeling anymore about you better lay off the tourists. It certainly doesn't. And I miss that whole, feeling that we got when I first moved to Vegas. I came in at the end of the Spilatro years and Lefty Rosenthal and all that when they were starting to fade away due to getting caught with all the things they were doing. But I was around enough, to see what was going on. And the Dunes was just a fantastic hotel for that stuff back in the day.
I happened to watch, maybe it was just a random Rat Pack documentary not too long ago. And Vegas back then was just such a vibe. It was just so different. I mean, listen, my experience at Vegas was great. As you mentioned, everything changes and it's very corporate now. But it's one of the, you know what it is? It's one of the unique cities in our country because it's just so unique.
Well, back then, I'll give you a couple examples back then. I mean, I was, again, I shouldn't say this, I guess, but, I started hitting the casinos and the lounges when I was 18. That was the whole thing. You couldn't get into clubs. There weren't a whole lot of them back then, and they were different than they are now. But you could get into the lounges and listen to live music. And back then, Vegas lounges were the place to go for live music. There was no doubt about it. You saw a lot of 1960s, 1970s bands that would play in those lounges. And one of the groups I got to know real well was Cornell Gunther's Coasters and the old Charlie Brown and that music. Now, that music was before my time, but I'm sitting there with a group of guys. I was 18 years old, maybe 3 months past 18, and I say to the drummer when he was on a break, I go, hey, can you play the song Shout by the Isley Brothers? He goes, I'll mention it to Cornell, who was the lead singer, and he was the one that named the Coasters in the 50s. Cornell didn't know it, so what do? They called me and my buddy up to sing it in front of everybody, a couple hundred people in attendance, and we became the Shout Brothers, and every time they were in town, Edwin Cook, Cornell, the drummer, all these guys, Shout Brothers, get down here, get in the house. We'd go down to the Flamingo Hilton, the Dunes, Fremont Street at the Mint, and get up there and sing 3-4 songs, and the people would go nuts. That was the difference between Vegas now. Try to get up on stage now at a lounge. See what happens to you.
You'll get arrested.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's so cool. Thank you for that. Walk down memory lane, Las Vegas, back in the day. Scott Spreitzer, still working, still doing his thing in Vegas. Game 6 tomorrow night, Indianapolis. Obviously, the Halliburton situation has put a wrench in things. You mentioned in your notes to me how to handle the Halliburton situation. How would you, as a bettor, approach this?
Yeah, first of all, if there would have been no injury and they lost that game as they did the other night, I would be immediately looking to come back with Indiana in this game. I think the closeout situation, when you talk about a team that's never won it before and they're all young, this Oklahoma City roster, it might be a little bit tough to close out Indiana, especially, by a decent point spread over 2 buckets, before it went up. And so when the announcement came out that, it's game time decision on whether he's going to play or not, the way I approached it was, all right, let me look at some of the players that surround Halliburton that I can jump in on props. And one of the first that came to mind, and I looked it up and jumped on it, was T.J. McConnell, who at the time was over 14.5 total points and assists. Now it's up to 15.5, but I still like it, and the price is much less now that it's gone up to that total. It was about $1.40. Now it's around $1.10 at last check a couple of hours ago, but over 15.5 total points. And we saw him have a real nice game last time out. I do believe he can get 17, 18 if Halliburton is either unable to play or unable to play his full 40 minutes or so because of the injury. And so I think you're going to see McConnell bringing the ball up more. They've got to reduce the got to reduce the turnovers and pump up the assists. So I think he's going to be more of a key player. So that was one of the things. I looked for him. I also looked for Siakam, his points total, which was 21.5 at the time. And I thought, boy, that's another prop that I do like here based on Halliburton either not playing or playing limited minutes or having limited ability, even if he plays a lot of minutes. And those are a couple of the approaches that I made. I thought, other guys going to pick up the slack, whether they win or lose. And even if Halliburton's able to go 35, 40 minutes, you can still get there with that McConnell prop. You can still get there with the Pascal Siakam prop. So that's what I would look to do is I would look into, if you haven't already, folks listening, into props on players who not only have to pick up the slack, but have shown the ability to do so also.
Yeah, great point. Benefit from the Halliburton. I got to think if Halliburton, he's going to give it a go.
Yeah.
But he's going to be hampered. The numbers jumped up to 6.5. It feels inevitable. Oklahoma City that just started to defend. It's a very good. Yeah, you've watched a lot of basketball. What's your take on Oklahoma City as a team?
Oh man, historic on defense, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I'm watching the game the other night when they won in Indiana. Was that game 4? And they looked dead to rights for the first 3 quarters. I was just doing a show earlier today, Patrick, and I came out and I just said it. I'm like, I have not seen a team play that kind of defense for as long as they did in the fourth quarter in Game 4 against Indiana. Those final 6 minutes or so, what did Indiana have, like 1 made field goal or something crazy? Oklahoma City played an historic brand of defense that I don't think I've seen for 6 straight minutes in the entire time that I've watched the NBA. And I've seen some good NBA basketball. The 80s were fantastic. That was unbelievable. It was on the road. They were down. They looked, again, like they were going to lose after 3 quarters. And I give the coaching staff and the players a ton of credit, SGA and the whole gang, because they're a young team. And they could have easily folded up shop in Game 4. And instead, they just turned it up. They hit the turbo button on defense, and that was that. I mean, this team deserves it. If they win it, they certainly do deserve the NBA title and taking home the hardware.
Yeah, second youngest team by average in NBA history in the finals, but they don't play like it. When it mattered in quarter 4 on Friday, they pulled themselves together and made it happen. Yeah, they're tremendous. Let's get a baseball play in before we say goodbye. You're on a late game tonight, and that is Astros-A's.
Yeah, I went ahead and laid a run here with the alternate run line, and at the time it was about $1.35. So obviously you need Houston to win by at least 2 runs for those who haven't played alternate run lines, and if they win by 1, it results in a push. But you got Severino going for the A's, and he hasn't figured out this ballpark in West Sacramento. 7.10 ERA, $1.56 WHIP, and 9 home starts. and the A's only won 2 of those 9 games. I doubt he's going to get the run support that I believe he's going to need, considering the A's have been a disaster against southpaws. They've averaged, Patrick, 0.4 runs per game and a 151 batting average in the last 10 against left-handed starters. So you bring in Framber Valdez tonight. He's been smoking hot over his last 7 starts. Houston won all 7. They gave up a grand total of 12 runs in those 7 outings. 5th best pin in baseball. The A's have a terrible pin. So I went ahead and I wanted to reduce the price. At the time that I jumped in, it was about $1.70. I knocked it down to $1.35, laying the 1 run.
Yeah, no, I love it. I'm going to jump on that with you. That bandbox up in Sacramento is hilarious.
Can you imagine if
okay.
they would have made the playoffs this year? They're not.
I mean,
my gosh, what are you going to do?
I don't know how they would have handled it. I mean, I guess they're in a similar situation if the Rays make the postseason.
Right. And they
I
could.
mean, it's just, yeah, and they certainly could. All right, Scott. Well, thank you. That was an awesome walk down memory lane there. I like that Vegas history stuff. You know that. Scott Spreitzer.
Always enjoy it, man.
Yeah,
Thanks,
no, that was great. Doc Sports, DOCSports.com. You can get the picks and get the free videos there as well. And Scott Wins on Twitter. Thank you, Scott. Good luck tonight.
Take care, Patrick. Have a good one.
Okay, buddy. Thank you. I was looking at a story. You know what I'll do? I'll come back. I'll get to your calls, and then also Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders has got himself in a situation, is what I'll say. I'll tease you with that. Also, we still have to continue to answer the question, like, who is the best duo in modern-day basketball? Are we seeing it tomorrow night with SGA and Williams? We continue. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
All right, we got a developing situation here, people. I'm just looking. Hold on a second. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio, as we welcome you back. Bet baseball, but mostly we're focused on soccer tonight. And I need to find CONCACAF Gold Cup. Here we are. All right, so here's the deal. We just cashed on Ecuadorian soccer. We've got coming up at the top of the hour, 30 minutes from now, we've got a CONCACAF, that's North America, right? Gold Cup. Mexico, who's won more Gold Cups than anybody, is taking on Suriname. Now, have I heard of Suriname? No, I have not. But let's go ahead and take a look. Suriname is a country in northern South America, also considered a part of the Caribbean and the West Indies. Suriname has, let's see, right around 600,000 people. Now, here's the problem. Obviously, if you're going to bet Mexico against Suriname, you're going to lay a price. You got to lay $655 to win $1. If you bet $100 on Suriname, you come back with $1,695. They're going to get pummeled. The goal total is 3.5. Don't love betting big-time goal totals like that, but Mexico should be able to score 4 or 5 by themselves. I need to, you know what? I need to marinate on this one a little bit. You could also lay 2 goals with Mexico. That would mean that it have to win by 3 or more goals. But you know what we need? We need to keep the momentum going, people. I mean, look, Ryan Smith is my guy. You know, running YouTube, Vegas, at VSiN Live. Give us a subscription. Make the bosses happy. Jacob's wild. You know, he just can't wait to get the scores. Strip club back in New York. Isaiah Ramirez, he's a weird kid. He's from New Jersey, but he likes the Toronto Raptors. You know, I don't really have a support system here. But I heard from Shaka. My guy from Pennsylvania called in, said he was tailing Ecuadorian soccer. So I'm just going to tease you. Still got 30 minutes to go on the program. We might be getting down with Mexico, Suriname. And if you knew that Suriname was a country, you're way ahead of me because I did not. Let's get back to the calls. You know what? I got to go to my guy Biscuit because he got cut off earlier. Hey, Biscuit, my bad. We're going. Hey, thanks for calling back, bro. We were going to a commercial. I apologize.
Hey, no problem, man. Man, you know, you kind of remind me of one of the boys I work with, man. He'll call me up. Hey, man, who you think going to win this preseason game tonight? I said, man, you can't possibly bet on preseason. So you bet on Ecuador and side.
That's called the degenerate, Biscuit. That's called the degenerate. That's what we.
Yeah, man. I want to talk about CC, man. And first of all, you're absolutely right. There is some outside forces pushing the narrative that may not be all about basketball.
Right.
And it's unfortunate, you know what I mean? Because it's a lot of people back in CC for other than basketball reasons. But that's not, in my opinion, it's not her fault. She's not pursuing them. They just backing her. She is out there trying to hoop. But the other players, particularly some of the sisters that been in the league a while, and even non-sisters like Tarasi and remember when Sue Bird and Tarasi, it's like they feel like she didn't earn her stripes. And so they kind of was poo-pooing Clark without really giving her a chance. But if you watch her play, man, the girl can play. Now, I'm a WNBA enthusiast. I watched WNBA before Clark came on the scene. To me, last year, we watched the WNBA finals was better than the men's finals. They had a couple games went to overtime. One went on the last second shot. The women's game is more fundamental basketball. They set picks, but the thing about it is it's much more physical. I used to coach AAU basketball, right? And you be at a tournament, and the girls' games was way more physical. I mean, almost every game was about to break out. You're not going to see girls in the WNBA exchanging jerseys and hanging out. No, they out there to kill each other. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just a Clark thing. They just, women in general, just go at it hard like that. But I think
You know what's weird though? Listen, I understand, and it bums me out that there would be societal or racial or whatever involved. But one thing that I think all the other women in the WNBA would admit is at least Caitlin Clark is bringing more eyeballs to the sport. That feels like a positive.
Yeah, but they can't help themselves. You're talking about women. You know, men, we think logically, like, well, shit, I can't. But women, they just can't help themselves. You know what I mean? They jealous of her, like, oh, she ain't all that. She can't, you know what I mean? And so they just can't help it. So that's what you see. They'll cut off, you know, I don't know if you've been married or whatever. Women will cut off their nose to spite their face. You know what I'm saying?
I am going to leave that alone, Biscuit. Biscuit, my man. I got no comment on that part, but you're right. And how about Biscuit being into the WNBA? He said he's a WNBA enthusiast. Look, the way I laid it out is I basically said I'm coming to you for help. Because, and almost like explain it to me like I'm a child. Now, I'm being a little facetious because I'm not stupid. I understand. How do I say this all very delicately? First off, the WNBA has become very popular to bet. You can go get the plays over at VSiN.com. Let me just say that. The sport hasn't hooked me. It's not because, and I know they play great style of basketball. Just really, the bandwidth's not there. I'm just not into it. I wish I was more naive, and I wish I didn't realize that a lot of it had to do with some sort of political divide and some sort of racial thing. First off, anybody on Twitter, anybody on social media that is taking a side to further their agenda against another race, creed, religion, gender, just a loser. And if you want to get involved in that type of rhetoric, I always just wonder, who the F raised these people? It's like, it's unbelievable to me where people, and by the way, if you're pushing an agenda based on WNBA, you've proven that you really don't have much going on in your life. That's that. I don't think anybody would argue with it. As a matter of fact, I think anybody that's out there tweeting or talking or Instagramming about, oh, I'm on this side because she's white, I'm on this side because she's black, I think you probably feel guilty every time you send the social media post. Like, you know you're a loser. There's just no other way around it. And somehow the WNBA, in some odd way, has become like a mirror of society and the dysfunction. It's really super weird. But I know, looking, and it's not just white on black, black on white, whatever. Like, the Connecticut Sun girls that were going after Caitlin Clark were white last night. And I'm like, seeing these clips pop up. But I guess you're right. Maybe it is just being catty. Because I'm seeing the clips pop up, and I'm like, dude, there is so much more attention. And the WNBA has been a good product for a long time. And there have been, you mentioned Taurasi. You can go on and on. There's been great women's basketball. The WNBA, whether it's subsidized by the NBA, that's not even part. The basketball is quality. So in no way am I saying that it's not. But certainly Caitlin Clark has raised the ceiling, or the floor, however you want to put it, as far as cachet and eyeballs to the sport. There's got to be an element, unless they're playing into the element, there's got to be an element where you're like, look, she annoys us for whatever reason. Maybe it's jealousy, maybe it's envy. I have no clue. But there's got to be an aspect where you take a step back and recognize, you know, this Caitlin Clark is bringing a lot of attention. That could mean more pay. That could mean more advertising opportunities. There's just a lot that goes into it. And the fact that it's got to be muddled and taken into the sewer of societal and political divide, it's embarrassing. It just is. It's stupid. I don't even know how to say it. These are the times when if you're not involved in that, these are the times, and we all have issues with our parents. We all got wounds, people. But these are, if you're not involved in that and you find it to be ridiculous, that's when you realize, you know what? I was raised well. Because what the F are you people doing? A bunch of grown-ups trying to take sides racially because of a basketball game? Losers. You know what? I know my man Tony in Detroit is not doing so. Tony, hi.
Patrick, real quick, your boy Stoney was on the radio today, filling in this morning. I was listening to a little Stoney with. He was on 19, our local affiliate. He comes and fills in. So I know.
Was he on over at 97.1?
He is. He fills in. Jansen was off on the morning show, so he's been in this week. He'll come in. He's kind of now retired, slightly fill-in guy. He comes on. He fills in for the guys who take vacations. So, yeah, Jansen was off. So I'll pop on the local affiliate in the morning. They'll be talking about, our wings plan or what we got going on. But, hey, before I touch on the Tigers, can I touch on this Caitlin Clark thing real quick?
Yeah, please.
Oh, me and you, listen, this is very similar to how Tiger Woods was treated by the PGA golfers, the older golfers. And you know where Caitlin Clark, she'll be revered by the 10-year-old girl right now when she gets to the WNBA in 12 years and that league is bigger. The league is players are making more money. I'm not comparing her greatness to Tiger Woods yet, but this is a very, very similar situation. You remember what Fuzzy Zeller said about Tiger after he won the Masters, about the dinner? Tiger was not received well because of the Hello World Nike commercial when he showed up in the PGA, and he showed up and kicked everybody's ass, and they weren't happy about it. But the golfers now, the Spieths, the Rorys, Tiger's revered in their eyes. That he put PGA where they are now, and so she'll be revered in 10 to 15 years by the little girl playing basketball right now who's picking up a ball because of Caitlin Clark, not because of these other players who are pushing her around or jealous.
That's a good point.
Really.
That's a good point. The legacy, you know what? That's a great point. Oftentimes it takes many years for the legacy to be recognized. That's a tremendous point.
Yes, and honestly, the situation reminds me so much because we lived at that Tiger, young Tiger. We remember that. But the big guy was talking about Tiger. He don't really remember. He don't remember the Tiger greatness. And on our Detroit Tigers, Mother Nature played a part. We get Scooble tomorrow at 1 o'clock and Skeens at 6:30. Baseball, come on, put them against each other. So at Comerica Park, they're both pitching tomorrow and not against each other. I'm pissed about that, Pat.
I couldn't believe when I saw I was thinking about you because when I saw it got postponed today, my assumption was we are going to see the matchup, and then it's not going to happen.
No, the Tigers, obviously they're just keeping the same matchup, but why would you let Scooble take a full night rest? Now he's going to pitch at 1 o'clock. And I'll tell you what, though, these two games are going to be an hour and a half apiece. Those two doubleheader games are going to be an hour and a half apiece with these two guys pitching.
They are. Hey, Tony, great to. I hope the Buddies was good the other day, too. I saw the picture on social. They are. That would be a debate. If you got one game to win in 2025, are you going Scooble or are you going Skeens? I'm going Scooble. I haven't seen a guy with pinpoint precision and throwing 100 like he does as a lefty. I don't think I'm trying to track. Obviously, Johnson, but he was a freak and a Hall of Famer. Scooble's special. Now, part of the story with Skeens is he obviously just doesn't get the run support because he's playing for a pitiful organization in the Pirates. But I think I'd go Scooble, honestly. Skeens is ridiculous. I mean, Skeens he's a generational talent. Scooble's a little bit, and Tony knows this, Scooble was just kind of a guy. And then a couple of years ago broke out, and then last year was just certified himself as, all right, I am beyond the best pitcher in the AL, and I now am the best pitcher in baseball. And by the way, if you look at those two, it's Scooble and Skeens, whatever order you want to put them in, and then the divide or the chasm until 3, there's a big drop-off. Those are by far and away the two best pitchers in baseball. And yes, so the Pirates, the Buccos, and the Tigers got rained out today. They go a double dip tomorrow, and we don't get to see the matchup, which is ridiculous. But you are right. Those are going to be some quick games because those two dudes mow through lineups. All right, I got a decision to make with Mexico and Suriname so we can double down on our Ecuadorian wins. We'll get that answer and continue with your calls. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Sweat your bets with VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
All right, so I think if you look at the Gold Cup, I put Mexico and Canada as the best in North America, and probably United States 3, somewhere in there. But tonight, Mexico's taking on Suriname. Now, we want to roll over our winnings from Ecuador earlier today. Look, Canada beat Suriname 3-0. You have to lay 2 goals with Mexico. It's -2 on the spread. It's -655 money line. Don't go crazy, but I'd feel pretty comfortable Mexico winning 3-0 here. But don't go crazy. You've been warned. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. We welcome you back. Let's get back to the calls. We say hi. Oh, Mr. Laker himself.
What's
Mike
up,
in the
brother?
OC. Hey, brother. What up?
What a day. By the way, Patrick, you're going solo tonight, just like the old days. Remember I used to call in, I gave you my top 10 Angels, top 10 Rams, top 10. Oh, my God. You let me go
I
on
think
forever.
about it often. Honestly, I think about your list often. Absolutely.
Oh, my God. Pat, don't tell me these Lakers. I mean, we're always making news, aren't we? Here's what I'm thinking. You know me. There's no one that goes back more than me. I mean, Al goes back, but he ain't out here going to Laker games all these years. He's looking from afar. When I first go, 1970, seeing Wilton Baylor. Patrick, when they first got out, I was thinking about the value, how this all went down, right, the money. When they first came here in 60, okay, from Minneapolis, Jerry West was a rookie. He and Elgin used to go in the back of a convertible through the neighborhood asking people to go to games with the bullhorn. That's like nobody even knew the Lakers. Like, huh? Who's in town? It was a Dodger town, Ram town.
Right.
And then you go from that to this. It's kind of unbelievable, the whole history of this team. I mean, but listen, Jeannie, it's a tough day for her in a sense. She's been with the team since she was 18 years old. When Jerry bought the Lakers in 79, she was at USC. And he put her at the LA Strings to start with. But she's always been part of this organization, I'm giving her credit. All these years, she's done what she can. Crazy brothers, all that kind of stuff going on. Still got to work for the team. But, I mean, moving forward, Patrick, it's a hell of a move. This guy knows what the hell he's doing. I mean, there's a lot of excitement, with the Lakers now and see what we could get and salaries and mix it all together. But everybody kind of was seeing this because you just can't run a team anymore like family-owned, it seems like. It's almost impossible. You got to be like a big company now, don't you? I mean,
Dr. Buss was like, he was kind of a celebrity. He was kind of a celebrity himself as the owner.
Yeah. Big time. Pat, you know about him? Interesting. Well, big time. When he bought the team, he almost couldn't afford it. He had to take out loans. He almost had to sell it right away. Like, he couldn't get the note. He and his buddy, here's what I mean. Like, he sold an apartment, right? He owned apartments in L.A. That's how he made his money. He was a chemist. But he bought all the property and he owned apartments and he sold it. That's how he made his money when he bought the Lakers for the $60-something million and the Rams.
No kidding.
But yeah, that's how he made it. He had like a master's or PhD. Yeah, PhD, Dr. Buff, in chemistry. The guy's really smart, but he almost lost it right off the bat, and to think how he hung on to it and turned it into that. Those times are absolutely wild. I mean, to me, that was the height. The Showtime Laker days.
Well, Showtime in the Celtics. That was That was the explosion and the popularization of the NBA as we know it today.
Absolutely, Magic and Bird. It's all Magic. I mean, look, we talked about it. Without Magic and Bird, there'd be nothing. It just wouldn't be here.
You still going to Bar A?
Huh?
Are you still going to Bar A?
Yeah. How about you flying in?
Are you going by yourself?
No. Yes. So I'm to meet Tony in Dallas. We're going to meet some people there, hopefully. Trying to coordinate some stuff. Yeah, I'm going myself. People dance. I say, sure, go. Why not? How many are going to do this? Huh?
How many more times? So what people don't realize is Chris, back in the day, used to go to Bar A down on the Jersey Shore, and he kind of brought it back. Did he bring it back the past couple of years? I don't even know.
I think this is the third year, I want to say, he's doing this.
So this is a tremendous job. People give you a hard time. But Mike and others like Tony in Dallas, they're paying their own way to go to the party. I think that's a good job.
It's pretty good. That's pretty good, right? But
did you hear yesterday? I was talking to Hayden. The difference with Hayden is like Hayden wants to piss people off. You're just nice to everybody, but you still piss people off. That is a weird dichotomy, no?
Is he going? By the way, I got to.
Hayden's going to be there. He can't wait to call your ass out in person.
Oh my God! You remember when he called me when I came in? He just like ripping. It'll be. You know what it is? It's like I'm going to meet these people. It's going to be fine. They're all like we're all fighting on the air, having these little collar squabbles. So dumb. We'll meet. Everybody will be fine. We'll break some bread, have a drink, have fun, whatever. Sure, it'll be nice, but it's all because of Russo, right?
Meshuggah.
Don't tell Dustin because he'll be mad. He'll want to go, right?
He'll get FOMO. Like, speaking of the big guy, like he can't. Thanks, Mike. Today's killing him. It just is, because he can't. It's almost like he doesn't. I don't know how to say it. He doesn't. If he's not a part of something, he's got to go to more therapy. Like, I just say, hey, dude, go and enjoy your vacation, and he's just like. Another Catito goal. Let's go, Isaias Ramirez. But he feels like if he's not in the mix, that he's going to be out of the mix or something. He's just got a bunch of stuff going on. So when they have like these parties, that's the reason he got naked at the Falcon, because he's just like, well, I can't just be here. People have to understand that my presence is being felt. Next thing you know, you got a 40-year-old man in his underwear running around a public bar, And so he's out of town. He got a girlfriend. Have you heard him mention it? And so these 3 days are going to kill him. He's checking right now, constantly, Twitter. Or do they miss me? Do they miss me? He's got to chill out. By the way, you know who else has to chill out? Shedeur Sanders. So, my man, look. Should he have fallen as far as he did in the draft? That's not for me to determine. I think he's going to be a pretty basic quarterback. I wasn't a huge fan of the prospect anyway. But you know what I do know? I do know my man's got a lead foot. Cleveland Browns rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders cited by police early Tuesday morning. Anyway, he's in a 60, right? If you're in a 60, you know what you can do. You can go 67. You don't want to go above 5-7 miles over the speed limit, because then, you're going to get popped. Next, your insurance goes up. It's a freaking disaster. Anyway, Shedeur disagrees, because Shedeur was driving in Strongsville, Ohio, and the police department stopped my man at 12:24 a.m. for driving 101 miles an hour in a 60. Look, I'm not here to judge, but that feels like entitlement. Like, and I know that it's not just Shedeur. People speed all the time. But if you think you can just be popping around 101 miles an hour, you got something going on. And it's not just because a kid got caught speeding does not mean he's a bad person. Let me be very clear. But the stories coming out pre-draft about why teams were passing on him, dude walked into the Giants facility. All right? Shedeur Sanders bumps and bumps is the right word, because he had his earbuds in and he was actually having a conversation with somebody via FaceTime while he's standing in front of the Giants brass. And they're like, hello, right here. Like, just a lot of stories that you can't necessarily corroborate, so I don't want to share them all, but that's one that we could, where he just did not impress people. And you hope for the best. Look, it's a really weird situation with the Browns. You got Flacco. He's toast. You've obviously got Pickett. Pickett stinks. They drafted, I believe, Dylan Gabriel as well. So there's an opportunity. Watson's not going to see any time as a quarterback with the Cleveland Browns anymore. There's an opportunity the kid could play. He's not going to start, but he could see some playing time. And then to go back to what Mike was talking about, at the top of the show, we mentioned it. Dr. Jerry Buss, back in 79, so 46 years ago, bought the Lakers for $67.5 million. His family just sold the Lakers for $10 billion. Mark Walter, he's the owner of the Dodgers, and he's spent a boatload since he bought the Dodgers. He brought in Mookie, he brought in Freddie, he brought in Shohei. They've won a couple of World Series, and yes, the COVID World Series counts. But Walter bought the team. Listen, it's a capped league. They're going to go into the luxury. You don't have to worry about anything changing with the Lakers, but it is an end of an era. I mean, the Buss family, like Al said earlier perfectly, a little bit of a mom and pop situation. Buss was kind of like, along with Magic and Kareem, was also the face of the organization, always sitting there with hot models, and his daughter's been in the mix. Jeannie since she was 18. And by the way, with the sale of the franchise, she's going to remain the franchise governor. But the Lakers have been sold for the largest ever sale of a sports team at $10 billion. Ryan, thank you. Jacob, Isaias, thank you. And Ecuadorian Soccer, thank you. I'll see you tomorrow. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio.